7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Yeah. Big O, we told you we ain't playing no games, man. It's yours truly, probably Pablo. Culture, Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yo, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat. Well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the Big O Show.
O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, Big O. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style. Breaking them on in, it's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping it glued in. Stay tuned, because right here is where the woman's in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sports talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it, call them and let them know.
Culture, probably Pablo. You know, now introducing the man of the hour, Big O, a.k.a. Orlando Austin Gary. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome aboard. All righty, we are ready to rock and roll on a beautiful Thursday. It's a great Thursday, man. We are feeling good. We're growing every single day, which is a beautiful thing. Just finished actually a meeting with the folks at Sports Grill, which is fantastic. Yeah, we were working before we started working this morning. Yes. And we are happy to announce that the show will be doing a pre- and post-game Dolphins. Yeah, exactly. All year long, we're going to be at Sports Grill. And Sports Grill, obviously, a proud sponsor of our show. We love the folks at Sports Grill. We love our special grilled wings. In fact, when I left Sports Grill, just a little bit ago, I was like, I better come back here for some grilled wings today, because all of a sudden I've got a hankering for some grilled wings, and those special grilled wings are just absolutely amazing. But if you're a Dolphins fan, we have added another element to the program. We'll be doing our Dolphins pre- and post-game show. We'll be doing it at the Bird Road location and the Miami Lakes location. I think we're going to do the first half of the season in Miami Lakes, and then the second half of Bird Road, or the first half in Bird Road and the second half of Miami Lakes. The owner hasn't decided yet. He'll decide. And then eventually, the Doral location, when it opens up, and hopefully it'll be sometime in December or January, we will move over there. So probably we'll do the pre and post game for the playoffs in the Doral location, which will be pretty cool. But we will tell you exactly the first half of the season where we're going to be, whether it's Bird Road or Miami Lakes. It'll be one of the two where we'll be doing our pre and post game show, so you can join us. And we'll be doing the one at 9:30, the ones in the evenings, all of that. It doesn't matter. All right, we'll be doing all of those broadcasts, pre and post. I was just actually talking to them. Listen, I said to Carlos, look, why don't we do a breakfast with the Dolphins? Because they play the Jags at 9:30 in the morning. So I go to him, hey, man, let's do a breakfast with the Dolphins. So we'll start our pregame show around 7:30. We'll do everything that we got to do for the pregame show. Get you ready for 9:30. Fans are filing in. They're having breakfast. They're having French toast and pancakes and scrambled eggs and bacon and all that good stuff while they're watching their Dolphins at 9:30 in the morning. So he loved the idea. And so hopefully Carlos will end up doing that, and we'll have some breakfast for the Jags game. But we'll be out there having a good time. And also today, another thing that we've added to the show to continue it growing into what I want to create is the best hardcore sports talk show in South Florida. And we all know that the local stations aren't really, they're not dedicated to it. And I was trying to create that with, the last project, but I'm going to do it with this one. At least for now, we're going to do it with this show, and we're going to get it going. And Kyle Krabs is the director of scouting for the Draft Network. He's also the lead editor of the Dolphins Wire. He's going to join us today at 12:30. But just to give you a heads up, it'll be the Sports Grill segment brought to you. It'll be Kyle Krabs brought to you by Sports Grill and a Dolphins Insider Report starting in August. So on Wednesdays, you can catch Kyle Krabs here every week exclusively on our show. You will not be able to hear him anywhere else in South Florida. He will not be able to be on any station or podcast or anything else unless it's here. That's it. And of course, his own podcast, Locked on Dolphins. But South Florida-wise, Kyle Krabs will be exclusive to us here, just like we have added other elements that are exclusive to us here. So it allows the local sports fan to, okay, you can come here to kind of get a lot of your information. And we're not done yet. We're going to continue to add more segments and more things. And eventually, we started off with 2 hours. We're going to expand this show. It'll probably go to 3 hours and possibly even 4. So it's a beautiful thing. And we'll continue to grow this baby like we're supposed to grow it. And we thank all of you out there. Ray Grulong. Ray, thank you very much. Sending in a little love on the Cash App. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Ray sending in. So remember, you guys can support us on Cash App. Appreciate you out there. Thank you, Ray. As Ray sends it in. That is strong on your part, sir. Thank you. But very happy. So you've got Ira Winderman starting in August, twice a week. You've got Manny Navarro already twice a week. Tomorrow will be his second appearance on our show, our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. Omar Kelly will join us twice a week. He already did it on Monday. He's joining us again tomorrow on Friday. So tomorrow you will have Manny and Omar. So you're going to have multiple Dolphin segments every week from different people. You're going to have Heat segments here, all of this. I mean, we're working on all kinds of things here on the show to kind of get it all going and create the kind of show, the kind of sports show that when you guys come, you're going to get all your information. You're going to get everything about the local teams. You know how I am. I'm born and raised here, so I'm all about our local teams. So I am just trying as hard as I can to create the kind of sports show that South Florida fans need, and hopefully we will get it to that point. But very happy today to finalize the deal with Sports Grill for our pre and post game shows for the Miami Dolphins. That way you don't have to listen to the politics and all the crap there that goes on at other places. You can actually hear something that is objective and we'll tell it like it is, pre and post. So we'll do that for you. And then at the same time, we have added Kyle Krabs, who does an excellent job of covering the Dolphins, free agency, the draft, all of those kind of things. Krabs does an excellent job. So we are now adding Kyle Krabs to the mix. So very happy. Hope you all are really happy with everything going on with the show. Slowly but surely, right? I mean, although you think about this, we've been on only for 2 weeks. I mean, it's not too bad in 2 weeks. We fixed the look of the show. We, got video going. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We've added all kinds of great content to the show. So I got to tell you, actually, I say little by little, but it's actually growing pretty damn fast here on the show. And we thank all of you out there for your continued support. Remember, smashing the hell out of that like button is so incredibly important when you're listening to the podcast, when you're watching on YouTube. Subscribing is also enormous. Sharing the link of the podcast, of the YouTube channel with friends and family members, also very important. And of course, you can support us through Cash App at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. And of course, you can visit our amazing sponsors like EJD Construction, like Canes Wear. You know what I'm saying? Like Sports Grill. Those, it's very important. Like Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. These are the things that also are going to help us grow immensely. So thank you very much. Appreciate you out there. Let's see. What else do we have here? A little roll call action. John Rouse is in the house. He's number one. Omar Lopez, Jay Gelfin is in. He says, "Good morning, Orlando. Looks like the lightning does strike twice." Yes. And remember what I said yesterday. If they somehow are able to do it again next year, or maybe the year after that, if they can win their third title in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they will become the first Florida pro dynasty ever. So we'll see what happens now. And they certainly, with the amount of talent they have, yeah, they can win it again next year. There's no doubt about that. Premier Reviewer is in. Says, looking forward to another great show. Thank you, Premier Reviewer. Very nice of you, sir. GP Trap Hewitt is in. Says, good morning. And as always, he reminds everybody to smash the hell out of that like button. Guillermo Rouse is in. Steve Chapman is in. Also says to smash it and the like button too. Raging Dolphin Maniac, Eddie Lepp, Daniel Guzman is out in Spokane, Washington. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Danielle, listening or watching out there in Spokane, Washington. I appreciate you, my brother. Francisco Rivero says, morning, Big O. You have a chance to see the NFL article that rated X the number 3 best corner in the league. Your thoughts? And also, I know, not with me on this, but pay the man. LOL. Listen, him being ranked number 3 doesn't surprise me, and it also doesn't change my mind. He got paid 2 years ago. You can't do it, man. You open up Pandora's box. I'm sorry. So I'm that none of that is ever going to change my mind. You agree to your contract. All contracts get old a couple of months in. He's got to learn to live with that. Eddie Lepp says, awesome news. I live up in St. Augustine, but I'll sure to come down and watch a game at Sports Grill with you guys. Can't wait. Well, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you. We're going to have some fun at Sports Grill, man. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys, talking Dolphins, pregame, during the game. I'll be walking around, hanging out with you guys and talking Dolphins. And then obviously we'll share our thoughts on the game in the post-game show, man. Ray says, great news. Yes, it is. It is great news. It's great news because every day, man, I'm really excited. After everything that happened with the whole onside thing, and obviously it was disappointing and depressing and all that, but I'm just not the guy that will, cower in a corner and cry about it and weep and pout and point fingers and all that kind of stuff. I'm pissed. I'm frustrated. There's no doubt about it. When you put your heart and soul into something and things, don't materialize, it's frustrating. And you know what's the worst part is? That I know that if I had the right partner, we could build a monster sports station in South Florida because it's desperately needed. It's not like there's one, right? I mean, what's left with QAM and 7 9, not the people that work, not the shows that are left. They're fine. Those guys they do an excellent job. But overall, both stations are dog shit. The company's dog shit. They don't dedicate anything. They don't care about our community. They don't have a passion like I do, like what we were trying to do at Onside. They didn't have a passion like that. I was giving you guys, we created Marlins Minute and Inter Miami Minutes and football segments and great basketball segments and everything geared towards the local teams. You know what I mean? We were on the brink of doing the right thing out here. Unfortunately, we got our legs cut up from under us, but it's frustrating. It pisses me off. I got to be honest with you, but I'm not going to sit there and pout for the rest of my life on this. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I got pissed. I sat back for a couple days, and then I said, all right, well, then you know what? We got to start with another. We got to start somewhere else now. And we've built this up already as it is. And we had over 2 million downloads in our first year of this whole thing. We had over 2 million downloads. I mean, we have a lot of people listening to this thing, and we appreciate it immensely. So why not stay with this? Why not build this up even more than what we did the first time around? First time around, it's just me and obviously Bill was helping me out and Philippe was helping me out, and then we have our guests. You know what I mean? Now we're taking it to another level now. Now we're going to have permanent additions to the show and people that are really going to add a lot to it. So that way it's not just me. Now you'll get to hear Ira Winderman all the time and hear some great Heat insight. You know what I mean? Omar Kelly, now Kyle Krabs with it. Manny Navarro, nobody better at breaking Hurricanes news. So let's create just an incredible ass-kicking show that has the best insiders locally. So that way the South Florida sports fan has a place that they can literally count on all the time for their news. And they can go back and listen to the podcast and all that. And by the way, thank you again, because the numbers surpassed the day before. So it is climbing and climbing even more. And we thank you all out there, man. So I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for your incredible support. James Roman is in. Herman Cueva is in. Randy Gonzalez. Daniel Marquez. Lisa Rose. Let's see. Troy Ortiz. Ragin' Kane says, appreciate it all, my man. Best of luck to you. Thank you, Ragin' Kane. Randy Gonzalez says, nice. So I am glad you got a deal done. I listen because you call it like it is, no matter what, and that's the best. I appreciate it. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's see what else. James says, can't wait for the new programming guests. Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm not done. We're working on some other things also. I just got to seal them all and finalize them, but I'm not done yet. We're going to add more. We're going to add a lot more. I'm not done. Wait till you see what I got in the works. JG Long out in Malaysia. I'm loving the show. Thank you, sir. Good morning to you. Matt Walker. Big O. I really was, whatever. Not a real reason. Let's just say for the plug being pulled. Anyway, so but that's all right, man. That's all right. You know what? We'll move on. The worst part about all of this actually is for the young people that we're bringing along. That to me is the worst part about it, because we had a lot of young people that I like, and that, with some grooming and some time, I think it would have really turned out really well. And that's the problem. That's what pisses me off, dude. That we don't have a platform that gives young people an opportunity to grow in this business. I was given that opportunity 30 years ago. But it's a different world now. It's 30 years we're removed from all of that. And those days are done. And nobody has it. They don't have it going on in those stations. Those stations that are left now, they don't care about young people. They're not trying to do that. They don't even care about the older people or established shows. They're getting rid of everybody, is what they're doing. It's less and less every couple months. They continue to take away from it, and then you're going to end up with crappy syndication. So you can turn on the radio so you can hear what they're talking about in New York, or about the Bengals, or about the St. Louis Cardinals, or about the Raiders, and you're driving around going, I don't give a shit about that. I want to hear about my Dolphins and my Canes and my Marlins and my Panthers and my Heat and Inter Miami and FIU and FAU, and that's what you're going to hear here all the time. Michelle Kaufman will join us today at noon. Added a young player. We'll find out the latest on that young player. Kyle Krabs will join us at 12:30. Got a bunch of Dolphins questions for him to hammer out. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a lot of the local things going on instead, because that's what I know that JG, who's listening to us and watching from Malaysia, is a South Florida sports fan. And that's the idea. It's not just the people that live here in South Florida. We got a ton of people. Lisa Rose is watching right now, right? She's watching from Rochester, and she's a monster Dolphins fan. She wants to hear about her Fins. You know what I mean? That's I'm well aware of that. Whereas the people that run these corporations, they don't care. They're not aware of it. They don't care. They have nothing. It just and for me, it's a whole different ballgame. I do care. I care maybe too much. maybe I'm a maniac. Maybe I'm too much of a maniac for all this stuff, but there you go. And so we're going to continue to build an absolutely ass-kicking show for you guys every single day with the best guests and the best insiders, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So spread the word, man. Spread the word, because the stations aren't going to have it. We're going to have all the insiders, and we're going to have the best group of people that actually are covering these local sports. So there you go. Derek Bonebreak says, Utamano, thank you very much. Mary Birch says, Esther Comfort Dog is thinking of her comfort dog friends in Surfside. Mary, well, it's interesting that you bring that up, Mary, because we are all hurting in this community watching what's going on in Surfside. And as a dog lover, and, obviously my wife and I, we have several dogs in our house. And I got to tell you, when I am done with work or I'm done with a long day, or I finished a concert in West Palm Beach, and I drive all the way down to West Kendall, and I pull into my house, the first thing I want is a big old hug and kiss from my wife, right? If my daughter is home, if she's home, then obviously I want a kiss and a hug from her also. But then, I change my clothes, and I go and I sit down on my couch, and then I'm surrounded by my dogs. And as frustrating as it could be, as pressure-filled as your day could be, as, sometimes some of the things that happen in life to you, like when they cut off a radio station and you're like, huh, what? And you get really frustrated. Those dogs change my life. Those dogs bring a smile to my face every single time. And I saw this story because, Mary, I'm glad that you brought it up, but hundreds of first responders, as you all know, are working around the clock in Surfside. And think about these people. They're working every day, and they're trying to help loved ones who have family missing, and they're probably in that pile, and they're running into bodies, and the pressure of all of this, it's got to be driving them, seriously mad. You know what I mean? Because we're only human, and it's got to be heartbreaking too to find another body. And it's just, you want to do more, because we all want to do more. We all don't want to see the building collapse, and we certainly don't want to see anyone pass away. And so these first responders, the emotional toll that is going on them, okay, the only people suffering more are the families. After that, it's those first responders. And so what's really cool is that Miami-Dade Fire Rescue is turning to man's best friend. All right. And these are rescue dogs. MDFR has a team of canines on a life-saving mission. These dogs are mental health dogs, says Captain Sean Campana, a 24-year veteran of the Miami Fire Department, says two of those crisis responders, the therapy dogs, are Charlie and Abby. Their job is to take care for the mental health of the first responders on the front line, part of the program that was started 5 years ago by Captain Campana. It's an even new concept in the fire service to have dogs like this. Surfside marks the first incident in the department's history that their peer support canine team is part of the command structure. I think there's been a shift in the culture of the fire department now with realization that we do get affected by things like this. Of course, you're human, man. Who wants to see that kind of heartbreak? You know what I mean? And you've got to be tough enough to work through it and compartmentalize all of this. It's incredibly tough, man. I got to tell you, I mean, how do you go home and sleep at night? How do you have a good night's sleep when you're thinking of all the memories of what you're going through? You know what I mean? So it says, when you have the personal experience, it's very easy to be dedicated knowing that it's going to make a difference. Crisis response canines are currently stationed in the medical examiner's tent on site in Surfside. It says, when a human does what we call friendly petting, which means we get our fingertips into their skin, our bodies release oxytocin. This is an extended incident. It makes everything more intense. Everything that everybody is going through feel more intense. We are now very aware that we can potentially be affected by stress like PTSD. Campana started this program with Charlie, a retired Greyhound race dog who was injured in competition 5 years ago. There are now 10 peer support mental health canine teams that are pioneering for this department across the state of Florida. The MDFR team is now assisting our departments in the state to get their programs up and running. The department's peer support team is also more than just the canines. We have counselors, Campana said. We network with psychiatrists. I mean, this is just an absolutely great thing that they did. When I saw this story, and Mary, I'm glad that you brought it up. I could relate to it. You know what I mean? And there's no doubt in my mind that a dog makes your life better. Okay. You add a dog to your family is going to be that much better because you added something that is just going to bring people together, just bring a lot of love. The unconditional support that you get from dogs is just about the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, when I'm sitting at home and my wife goes out to run an errand or two or whatever, and she's gone for 10 minutes or 30 minutes or just an hour. When she comes back, those dogs act like they haven't seen her in 8 months. And that's the kind of stuff that you just, you can't buy. You can't create. Only dogs bring that to the table. So great job bringing those mental health dogs to Surfside to help our incredible first responders, and prayers to the families and prayers to the first responders who are doing the kind of work that I don't think most of us ever want to be a part of. And maybe a lot of us don't even have the stomach to do it, and yet they're doing it. So, Mary, I'm glad you brought that up. I know it's not sports, but I thought it was a cool story. It was something that I probably, I don't even know if I would have gotten to today, but when Mary brought it up, I had to bring it up because it was so cool. Daniel says, do you have someone to do the show if you need a day off? Daniel, not yet. I have people that I can go to, but yeah, I don't know. Daniel, do you know me? Do you know me well? When it comes to not working, that's kind of I don't know, it's weird. I'm one of those guys that loves to work. I work a lot. But yes, if I need a day off, yes. But right now I'm not thinking of a day off. Right now I'm thinking about building this thing up. I'm thinking about building up throughout the NFL season. I'm thinking about the off season with the East West and the Senior Bowl, which, by the way, they're now crossing over each other, which I'll get to that story. You brought that up. I'm thinking about the draft. I'm thinking about the combine. I'm thinking about all the things, all the other elements down the line that I want to make sure we're covering in a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So think about that. You're thinking, you already mentioned a day off. I'm thinking 9 months ahead of time right now at this point. That's where I'm at. That's where my mind is, Daniel. So yes, when I get to that point, I'll take it off. Airman 241 is in. John Rouse says, "Oh, have you tried to get the Dolphins to sponsor you at the stadium? Maybe." No, you can't. I won't be able to do it because we're not the flagship station. So I doubt I'll be able to do something like that. Let's see. Steve says there are 45 viewers, only 25 likes. Let's go. I'm with him there. Let's go. Hit that like button. We need it. I heard through the grapevine. Ian, yeah, listen, man, just don't worry about it. Leave it alone. We move on, bro. Can't look back. Omar Lopez, agree with Steve. As soon as you log on, close the live chat, hit the like button, then reopen the live chat. Take a second. Thank you. Many of us love our South Florida sports teams, always have, but have relocated out of South Florida. We feel in love with your show because of you. Thank you, my friend. And that's the gap I'm trying to bridge. James says, I left Miami 10 years ago, and because of this show, I've never felt homesick. Thank you. Wow, that's very nice. Mary Birch says, we're outside St. Louis and thinking of you all. The LCC Comfort Dogs are doing their best work for you, especially the first responders and family. Well, thank you, Mary. I just can't say enough about that. I think that program is absolutely amazing. I really do. Lisa says, our LCC Comfort Dogs are there from all over the country to bring comfort to Surfside. Thank you. Thank you. Herman says, Big O is like a rock. Well, we try. And we love rock. Ray says, we should all do a cool tailgate at a Finns game this year. Yeah, but I'm doing the pre and post, so I can't. I've already taken myself out of tailgates already this year by doing the pre and post at Sports Grill. You guys can join us at Sports Grill is what you want to do, okay? If you're not going to the stadium, I want you guys to come on over to Sports Grill. Hey, listen, those of you that have been talking about get-togethers and all that, now we've got a get-together for every Dolphins game. We can get together. If you're not going to the stadium, if you don't have the tickets to go to the stadium, then come on down to Sports Grill, man, and watch the game with us. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. So there you go. That's a place where we can already start doing our get-togethers right there for Dolphins pre- and post-game show. And we thank Carlos again at Sports Grill. Always a big sponsor of our program. We really, really appreciate it immensely, man. Really, really pumped up about all of this. To add Sports Grill, to add Kyle Krabs every week to our show. We are, I think, on our way to building the kind of show that, the local sports fans can actually tune in all the time and get their stuff. You know what I'm saying? New York Sports says, thanks for always being real, Big O. I live in New York and a fan of the Knicks and Jets, but local radio here in New York sucks. Both stations are in bed with the local teams. Yeah, that's the problem too, right? And that's why for our pre- and post-game show, you're not going to get a pre- and post-game show that's, a Homer show the entire time. You're actually going to get something that, is going to call it like it is. Although, it's going to be a good year this year. Dolphins are going to the playoffs, man. Dolphins are going to have a hell of a team. I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot of fun this year to follow the Dolphins. I can guarantee you that. So congratulations to Tampa Bay. Let's give the Tampa Bay Lightning the love that they deserve. They end up winning the Stanley Cup 2 in a row, winning it last year, winning it this year. So let's see if and they've got 3 titles now in 282 days, shortest span among pro teams ever in this country. Damn. Ross Colton was the only guy getting a goal in the game. How about Vasilevsky just pitching another shutout, man? Damn, dude, that guy is just an absolute monster. And does it make you feel any better about the Panthers? In a way, it does for me. I gotta be honest, because Tampa's the best team in the league, man. What are you gonna do? And let me tell you, Florida is one of those teams that had more success against the Tampa Bay Lightning than most any team in the league. They had more success against that goalie, who's near impossible to score on, than almost every team in the league. Unfortunately, they couldn't get through them, but now we see why, because they're the best team in the damn world. And they've won 2 in a row, and they should be the favorites to win 3 in a row. But, congratulations to them. I got to give them props. We've got basketball tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC. Suns lead 1-0. Bucks. The Suns are favored by 5.5. The over and under is 219.5. Dario Saric is out for the remainder of the series. Tore his ACL. They still should win. I'm still picking the Suns when it's all said and done. And it'll be interesting to see how Giannis's knee responds tonight. So impressed with him in game 1. Really, I'm incredibly impressed. Well, I already told you. The toughness, the leadership, all of that. He's never going to be a great shooter. With a knee injury, with no knee injury or nothing, it's just he's going to need to hit the gym, and I don't know if he can ever get there. Maybe he could if he works on it a lot and can get to that point. But right now, the knee is not going to make him any better or any worse. He is what he is. But what he did the other night, that was freaking impressive, man. I got to give him a lot of props for that one. I went to Big O's draft party at Sports Grill and had lots of fun. Had a great time. Looking forward to going again, and now vaccinated. Nice job, Herman. And it was great to see you there at the draft. We had a great crowd both Thursday and Friday night. I was a little worried about Friday night because it was Friday, all that. And I said, man, would people show up? And sure enough, man, they showed up, and they showed up big. Randy says, sorry to go off topic, but what are your thoughts on XRP and Algorand? Do you see them as keepers in crypto or just short term? All right, well, look, the XRP has a great business model, okay? It can be incredibly successful. Now, I'm going to tell you something that it's not like I know by facts or anything like that, but I got a feeling that XRP has got the SEC by the balls in their lawsuit. So I think they're going to end up winning that lawsuit because I think the SEC and everything else, they're just dragging their feet, bro. They know they don't have what it takes to really, stick it to XRP. So I think eventually they'll break free from that, and then XRP is going to soar. So XRP is one that you buy and you hodl until it grows and it goes. Algorand is also a very good coin to invest in, but these are long-term coins. You've got to hold on to them. These are not, pump and dumps. They're good companies that you've got to hold on to them. But of course, the XRP thing, I don't know what's going to happen with the damn lawsuit when it's all said and done. And so if something happens, then that could put you in a really real bind. But the problem is the second wind gets of the whole thing that they're going to overcome the lawsuit or they're going to win it, the price is going to soar because people are going to invest in XRP. So you have to be careful. But XRP is definitely a good one. But again, you have the lawsuit that's in the middle of the way. And Algorand is another one that's solid. There's no doubt. Solid. Now, are you going to now you tell me those are Matic? I'm going Matic. If you're going, Algorand, XRP, or Cardano, I'm going to go Cardano. I mean, I can pick a couple of other coins that I'd rather have, but I'm not going to tell you that Algorand's a bad move. Algorand's a good move, and XRP should be a really good move when it's all said and done. It should. It should blow up. But you got to wait for the lawsuit to finish. So it's up to you to take the chance on XRP. Lisa says, my friend was visiting from Phoenix and told me I have a place to stay 5 minutes from the Arizona Stadium for when we make the Super Bowl next year. Nice. I'll be there. I'll be there for the Super Bowl next year when the Dolphins win it. Can't wait. Airman 241 says Tampa is over the cap, may have to let some players go before next season and have some key players who are free agents. Airman, the thing is, they're such a great organization. They know how to build year in and year out. They've been awesome for nearly 20 years. They've been a really good hockey organization. That's the thing. That's the amazing part about Tampa. Would you take Kevin Love for the Heat on a buyout? No, I would not. And That's the sad part now when it comes to the Heat. That's really the sad part, that we're in a phase of desperation now. Oh, let's settle for Oladipo. Let's give him the minimum or a portion of the exemption, and he's got to try to make it back from the knee injury. Oh, let's bring in Kevin Love, which, by the way, they say the Lakers may make a move for Kevin Love or something like that. Anyway, oh no, Golden State. That's what it was. It was Golden State also that wanted that I read that could be interesting, Kevin Love. But no, we're the Heat. So let's take a chance on the often injured Kevin Love. I'm telling you, and I told you this last week, there's an air of desperation with Riley over the last couple of years. And he has made moves that have settled more on desperation than actual patience and maybe, settle for less for the time being, like when he signed the 4 bums to those long-term deals. And I hate to call Tyler and James Johnson and Whiteside and Dion and all that bums, but the signing those guys, that was a desperation move. That didn't make any sense whatsoever. These are desperation moves, and I really worry about the Heat. They're trying to find that magic again, and they're kind of settling for other things instead of being able to get the top-notch options, because Kevin Love is not a top-notch option. All right, I hate to say this, but Jimmy Butler is not a top-notch option. It's just not a number one. He's not a superstar. He's an all-star. Okay. He's been awesome for Miami. I get that. But in a perfect world, you needed somebody better to be the number one, because Jimmy's more of a Robin, not the Batman. Because in this league, you got to be able to shoot, man. And he can't shoot. So you've kind of settled there, and Jimmy had to settle for Miami because he had to find a place that was willing to give him the money and be the guy. And he didn't have a lot of those options unless they were really bad organizations. There's been a lot of settling going on with the Miami Heat lately. And if you go with Kevin Love, you are settling for something that, again, you're just hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. And that, I'm just count on Goran Dragic. Desperation. All because of what? Because he had 4 months off before the bubble run. But outside of that, he's been an injury-prone guy. And he's older and run down. You're settling. You have to make these tough decisions and cut bait and move on and stay flexible. Like that's what pissed me off most than anything else when they signed James Johnson and all those guys. You should have never signed any of those guys, and you should have stayed liquid. You should have bought a bunch of guys at 1-year deals and stay liquid and give yourself an opportunity down the line. So that's my problem with the whole Kevin Love situation. It really is. Let's see. What else do we have here? I heard your story on Trevor Bauer yesterday. Are the pictures of the women online? Yes. Yeah, it's online. It's online. You can find it. Her face is, brother, it looks like she got assaulted. Like she got beat up and mugged or something. That doesn't, that's not, like I said before, Trevor Bauer's got problems, bro. He's got serious problems. And Major League Baseball and the Dodgers, they got some issues themselves too. The fact that they even thought, it would be fine to go start him. Like, what the hell are you thinking, dude? Even if the Heat were interested in Love, which I doubt, Love won't sign here because he knows his only way of winning again is by riding the hype with the Lakers, Nets, and the other top-tier teams. Well, and I read a story where it was the Warriors that were interested in Love to bring him there. Do you think it's time for a change in the basketball operations within the Heat? Riley has been fantastic, but maybe a change is needed. No, I'm fine. I'm going to ride it out with Pat till he wants to leave. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that because I already learned my lesson. And we've talked about this before. All right. I learned my lesson with Shula. And the games passed him by, the games passed him by, the games passed him by. And then you push him out the door, and nobody that came after him for 25 years was any better. They were all worse than Don Shula. On his worst day, I'll take Don Shula over everybody that followed him up until now. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. I'm gonna stick with Riley. He's been good to us. He's been phenomenal. They've won 3 titles. They've been to the finals a whole bunch of times. I'm gonna stick with Riley, but I have to. But if he does something that I think is not the right move, I'm gonna say it, dude. I'm sorry. Back when they were signing Whiteside, I wasn't a fan of it. I was never a fan of signing Whiteside. And I'll stick to my guns on that one, and I was right. I was dead right on that. I understood why they were signing him, but I never agreed with it. I got it that they were leaning on potential, but right away you knew that that guy was not made for the Heat. He just wasn't. He's not of Heat culture, as they say. Congratulations to the Marlins. Nice job. They defeat the Dodgers 9-6. They've gone 3-0 against the Dodgers in this 4-game set, man. They're now 4-2, I think it is, against the Dodgers this year. Jesus Aguilar breaks the tie in the 9th with the 3-run homer, his 14th of the year. Coop de Loop had 2 home runs. Nice job, man. And they're about to take the field at 12:10. Julio Urias taking on Sandy Alcantara. 12:10 first pitch. So we'll see if the boys can sweep the Dodgers in a 4-game set, man. Sweep the Dodgers. 4-game set. Sweep the world champs. Baseball, man. We have a saying in Spanish. La pelota es redonda, pero viene en una caja cuadrada. Which is like, there are things that you can't explain in baseball. It's a round ball and it comes in a square box, that kind of stuff. And the saying sounds so much better in Spanish than it does in English. But it's the point is that baseball can be unpredictable at times. And as frustrating as the Marlins can be because they can't score a lot of runs, this is just something you don't expect, right? That here they are playing against the best team in the majors, and they're smoking them 3 straight games. You know what I mean? And that these are things that you can't predict in sports. That's why you just got to watch and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I love it. Remember, you can reach out to us on the YouTube chat board. If you got a question, a comment, an insult, send it in. Twitter, follow us on Twitter at Big O Show. You want to support the show? Other ways to support is on Cash App. And that's Cash Big O Show. That's how you find us. Cash Big O Show. You can support us on Cash App. And of course, if you ever have a question, a comment, you want to send me an article, a link, a picture, whatever it is, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. If you want to send me an email anytime, any place, it's always a good thing. 15 minutes from now, we will be joined by Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. The Inter Miami squad added a young man from Aston Villa, Indiana Vasilev. So we'll find out the latest from the 20-year-old forward, and we'll see what kind of insight Michelle can share with us on the 20-year-old forward. Let's see. What do we have here? In your opinion, who's the better head coach, Shula or Belichick? Well, brother, Belichick has to get the nod because he's got all the titles. You know what I mean? And, for me, Shula is always going to be the best, but I can't argue with people that say Belichick. I get it. I get it. Now, it was a different game. No, the free agency didn't affect the game nearly as much in those days compared to now. Salary cap, all of those things. Shula had the salary cap right at the end of his run, and it was something that he never got to adjust to because it was so new at that point. And to Belichick's credit, now, the other thing with Belichick, and here's the interesting part about all of this is that when you start comparing the Belichick-Shula thing, right, now Belichick has the other thing that people want to find out. Can you do it without Tom Brady? That's the thing, right? Like Bill Walsh won it with Joe Montana, and then he won it with Steve Young. So he built two different teams that can win. Well, actually, the Steve Young one might have been, it wasn't Bill Walsh, actually, now that I think about it. It was the other idiot that they got from Carolina. I forgot his name now. But but San Francisco was able to win it with two different quarterbacks. And that was obviously mostly a lot of the players that Bill Walsh left over from his run. And I keep forgetting the guy that came from Carolina and took him to the Super Bowl and they won. Basically, he played the role of Barry Switzer. Like that third Dallas championship, right? Or fifth, however you want to look at it, if you want to add the prior ones. But that last championship that they won, Switzer won it, but I never give Switzer any credit whatsoever. That's all Jimmy Johnson's team. Okay? George Seifert. Thank you. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate you there for the George Seifert comment. And Seifert did the same thing. He basically took Bill Walsh's players and he won a title. Because Seifert really didn't do much after that on his own. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of look at Seifert and Switzer the same way. I don't really credit them. I credit the prior coach, even though the coach wasn't there. But anyway, now that's the next step for Belichick, is that can he win one with another quarterback? And then that's where you become the ultimate, guy. And he's already considered that because he's got 6 titles. And he won a couple with the Giants as a defensive coordinator. So I have no problem people picking Belichick. Okay. I'm going to lean to Shula, but I'm biased. I'm biased. I watched Shula do some stuff with guys that you never thought he would end up doing it. Impressive. What else do we have here? They need a top line player that can average 20 plus a night. Well, not only that, Daniel, the Heat need a shooter. Not only is he 20, but he has to be able to shoot. Big O, did you get your Tua jersey? Oh yeah. Yeah, I got my Tua jersey last year. Last year I got it like in early November or something like that. I wore it to the draft. Actually, the first night of the draft, I had a Tua jersey. Anybody that went to the draft, or if you go on YouTube and go back to the draft, the first night with Dono there, I had my Tua jersey on. So yes, I definitely got my Tua jersey. Of course, had to get a Tua jersey, man. I'm a Tua guy. I believe in the kid. I think he's going to be terrific this year. I really do. And hopefully, if you missed it, we had a segment yesterday where he was at a charity event and answered some questions, and we kind of broke that down too. So if you want to check that out, you can go back to the podcast and see it. They say that about John Gruden, Tony Dungy, which never made sense to me. They say what about John Gruden? Oh, that they picked somebody else. Well, no, I disagree with you on that one. Both of them too, because the Colts didn't have a defense. And Dungy went to the Colts and improved their defense to the point that they could win a title. Okay. And then on the flip side, John Gruden, to his credit, I got to give him credit. Okay. I'm not the biggest John Gruden fan, but he inherited a dynasty-like defense, a generational defense. Okay. And then all he needed was offense. And to Gruden's credit, because remember, they had like Sean King at quarterback there. Tony Dungy had a great defense with Tampa, but he had Sean King as his quarterback. And it's like, he's a serviceable backup, but that's not what you should be starting. You know what I mean? So to his credit, he went and got Brad Johnson, who's a pro's pro, not a great quarterback, but a really smart and capable quarterback. Okay. He can manage a game. And then he added Keenan McCardell. He added the wife beater, Michael Pittman. His kid is now in the NFL. He added a left tackle. Forgot the guy's name. He added several pieces on offense that they desperately needed to bring the balance to that team. Because remember, with that Bucs defense, dude, all you had to do was score 15, 18 points, and you're going to win every damn game out there. And so, to Gruden's credit, he solved their offensive issues, and that's why they won a title. He could not build on that because the team just got worse and worse as time went on because John Gruden sucks as a custodian. He's terrible. He knows X's and O's. He does. But drafting and developing and creating a team, he can't do that. That's not what. Watch him with the Raiders. Can't do it. Can't do it at all. And Tony Dungy, well, he added the element that they needed badly. And let's also be honest, they got lucky they faced the Bears. Rex Grossman. Come on, bro. I mean, you lose to Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl, that's gross. That's disgusting. You can't do that. You cannot lose to Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. No, it just doesn't happen. If you do that, you might as well retire from the NFL. You should be stripped of anything and everything you've ever done in the NFL if you lose to Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl. I got a Jalen Waddle jersey for Father's Day. That's what Mike says. Nice. I like it. Herman says, true, the old Dolphins logo. Yes. Rosendo, good morning, Big O and Big O Nation. So, do you give Dennis Erickson credit for leading UM to 2 national championships, or is Jimmy's team? Okay. Here's how I look at it. Again, another guy that knows his X's and O's. So I give him credit for winning the 2 titles with Jimmy's players. But what happened after that? The program got worse and worse and worse and worse. Do you know why? Just like John Gruden, not a custodian. It's part of maintaining greatness. Pat Riley has won for 25 years, and they've won with all kinds of different teams. And he's torn it down and rebuilt it, and torn it down and rebuilt it, and torn it down and rebuilt it. Do you know why? Because Pat Riley already proved that he can coach, and he's already proved that he can trade, and he's also proven that he can build. And that's kind of part of being a custodian of a program. And to Belichick's credit, he kept, bringing in certain players, and then when it was time to unload them, he'd unload them and bring in a new wave of players. And then he'd win with those players. Obviously, Tom Brady was the what's that called? The common denominator in every one of these equations, but it was still being rolled over in talent. He was still changing because he was a pretty good custodian overall, turning over the team. John Gruden can't do that. Dennis Erickson could not do that. He won early because he had Jimmy's players. But then once his players took over, he got his ass beat by Arizona. He got his ass beat by everybody in those bowl games. The bowl games under Dennis Erickson became an absolute freaking joke. That's how it is. Kind of like playoffs with Jimmy Johnson and the Dolphins. They became a joke because they were getting their asses kicked all the time. Jimmy couldn't figure out the offense. We know about Will Fuller's speed. Does he have good hands? And is he a versatile route runner? In other words, he won't be another Mike Wallace, will he? Well, Ohio John, I don't believe he's Mike Wallace. I believe he's much better, and he has great hands. He's a terrific route runner. He's got blinding speed. He will blow the top off of a defense. He's not Mike Wallace in any way, shape, or form. There's only one knock on Will Fuller V. One knock. Injuries. Hamstrings. He's had hammy issues, and that usually happens to thoroughbreds like that. And that's been his problem right there. That's the only thing that stands out. Will Fuller's not the guy that drops balls. He's not the guy that runs wrong routes. He's not the guy that's lazy. He's not the guy that lacks work ethic. He's not the guy that doesn't know how to run a route and none of that stuff. He knows how to do it all. He can catch consistently. He can catch in traffic, all of that stuff. His problem is injuries. That's always been his problem. And that's why I said before that the 1-year deal is a beautiful thing. It's so smart by Chris Greer because it keeps Will Fuller motivated. He understands that in order for him to get paid and get that big contract, this 1-year deal, he needs to be healthy. He needs to be incredibly productive. So there's this carrot that dangles in front of Will Fuller all the freaking time. And that, my friends, is going to be absolutely awesome. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Michelle Kaufman is going to join us at the top of the hour. We will get into a little Inter Miami football. It's a quick one with her because we'll get the latest on what's going on as they added a player, and then we'll get back to your talk and to your questions right here on the Big O Radio Show. For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Friday, we are ready. Hour number 2 is on the air. We are awaiting Michelle Kaufman, of course, from the Miami Herald, covering Inter Miami on a daily basis. And Inter made some news as they added a new player. They're going to face the New York Red Bulls on Saturday. So we'll have a little fun here, and we'll talk with Michelle Kaufman, and we'll get the latest on the newest player. We'll get her thoughts on the game coming up on Saturday against the New York Red Bulls and anything else that she may be hearing about Inter Miami. And then I'll get back right away to your questions and comments. I got a bunch of things that I want to talk about too on the show. So I want to mention a couple of things that I found to be pretty interesting overall here. So we'll get to it. I got a couple of music notes too. Kyle Krabs is going to join us at 12:30 So we'll get the latest also with Kyle, and we'll talk a little Dolphins with him. But it is time now. We're going to talk a little Inter Miami. And yes, and she's ready now. She's not surprised it was video this time around.
Look, I got my glasses, put a lip gloss on,
There you go. She's all dolled up and ready to go. And
dolled up for the big O.
That's right. And you can follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. Catch her exceptional work there at the Miami Herald website. Michelle, first of all, good afternoon. Thank you for taking some time. We always appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, let's
Good to
get
be here.
into thank you as always. Let's get into the newest edition, Indiana Vasilev. And we all know that they need offense. So tell us a little bit about this 20-year-old forward, because when I read your article, I also didn't see any goals that were tied to him. They need to score goals.
Hey, look, Gonzalo Higuain arrived here with a lot of goals and hasn't scored that many. Maybe this kid has not scored goals, and now he's arriving, and this is where he's going to start scoring goals. Anyway, first of all, I asked him, he is named after Indiana Jones. I thought maybe his parents met in the state of Indiana or something. No. He is a Bulgarian American. Both of his parents are Bulgarian. His dad played, his grandfather played, and I believe his great-grandfather played. But anyway, I asked him if he's the next Stoichkov, and he said, no, it's a little too early to say that. But basically the kid he just turned 20. He's very young. He's a U.S. youth national, so he played for the U.S. like under 13, under 15, under 17, under 20. He's been in the U.S. youth system since he was very, very young, like 13 years old. He lived at IMG, trained in the IMG Academy with, when he was U17, went to the U17 World Cup, had a good showing at the U17 World Cup, which is where the European scouts noticed him. And so he got signed to Aston Villa when he was 17 to go into their youth system. And he did make it to the first team. He's actually the second youngest American ever to play in a Premier League game. So he did play in, I believe, 5 or 6 Premier League games. So he has played at least some games at the highest level in England, and that was at the age of 18, 19. So, but he's been on loan the last year, was not really able to break into the first team lineup, so they sent him on loan. And now Miami, I didn't even know that I really didn't even know that this signing was coming. It kind of came out of nowhere. But they apparently are looking for some kind of spark, some young person who's, he's not going to cost that much money. I looked up on his, online and everything. It says that his contracts are about $275,000. So we're not talking about a huge investment, but you're talking about, Chris Henderson said he's a very exciting young talent. He's good on the ball. He's very creative. He's hungry. And I thought it was interesting when I talked to the kid yesterday. I asked him, why did he come here? Why did he make this decision at this point? Obviously, he wants more playing time and he wants to score and have more playing time. He said that when he spoke to Phil Neville said he wants to work with young players who are hungry and energetic and creative. And he's a left footer, so I'm assuming it's, to be like a left winger. So,
opposite
I don't
of
know.
Higuain, if you can't get Robbie healthy, he's going to be the guy that they're going to try at that side. That's probably
it seems to me right. It seemed to me a little curious because I always thought that that's kind of Robbie's position that they had sort of, been grooming him for, but he has still been out. I mean, according to Phil, he is going to be fit for the next game on the 17th, as is Pizarro and Higuain. He made it seem like all three of those are going to be fully fit and ready to go. But if nothing else, this kid is going to come, light a fire under the tushies of these guys, because I'm sure he's going to come in hungry. He sounds, just from talking to him yesterday, he's a very confident sounding young man. I would say he doesn't sound meek. He sounds like he's, he was saying stuff like, I will bring creativity and pace and speed to the attack. And, I'm going to help us win games. The team is not doing well. They need something. They need a spark. I'm here to be a spark. So, he just seems to have the right attitude. I mean, I've never seen him play, so I can't speak on firsthand knowledge, but they brought him in for a reason. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah. And listen, when we talked about this last week when you were on, this is the direction they have to go in now because they are cash strapped. Not that Moss is cash strapped. He personally has plenty of cash,
Right.
But the team's now cash strapped because of the fines. You're tied to Pizarro's, a ridiculous salary. It's going to be impossible to move Pizarro unless you just want to outright cut him, and then you're going to lose millions in the process, just like you did with Matias. So they're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. And Michelle, remember we talked about this last week. They're going to have to try to go young now and find some young players and find some diamonds in the rough. And that's what I thought of when I saw this. I said, okay, they've already started the youth movement because they won't have the flexibility of going to buy a established veteran right now at this point in time.
Right. I mean, they have 3 DPs. A lot of teams in this league only have 2. They have 3 DPs. They've invested a lot of money in Blaise Matuidi, Gonzalo Higuain, and Pizarro. That's a lot of money that they have sunk into those 3 guys. And so, yeah, I mean, the people and Robbie, he has shown such great promise. I mean, he's been one of the biggest disappointments that not that he's a disappointment, but that he has not been able to, to show.
I've been more disappointed with the way they mishandled his injuries. Actually, that to be honest, I can't blame Robbie for this because Rob, the player, you have to protect the player. Michelle, you and I have been at this for a long time. We know players have to be protected from themselves. They did a terrible job, and they put his ass out there when they shouldn't have, and they should have left him get healthy, and that's why he has suffered these setbacks. Listen, I know Robbie had a rough go last year with all the issues. This year, I got to tell you, I blame more the people around Robbie than I blame Robbie right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we asked that very question, and if we're going to believe Phil Neville, he said that he passed. He said that he passed every single metric that they even kept him 2 weeks beyond when the trainers said that he would be ready. They kept him 2 weeks longer than that because they wanted to make absolutely sure. So, I don't know because I don't have his x-rays. I don't have his medical records. I don't know. Hamstrings are tricky. Hamstrings are difficult. What I do know is every time he's been on the field, I've been impressed with him. I think he has great talent, and Phil Neville seemed really impressed with him at the beginning of the year, said this kid is going to do great things, blah, blah, blah. And once again, it hasn't happened. So now they bring in this kid, Indiana. It's a great name. It would be fun if he turns out to be something. I mean, the guy's named after Indiana Jones, for God's sake.
Oh, you got to play the theme song when he scores a goal.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be creative enough over in the stadium to figure that out, but you got to play some Indiana Jones music, bro, when he scores. That would be amazing.
Yeah. He said that he's obsessed with the movies, that from the time that his parents were both obsessed with these movies, he was shown them from a very young age. And he said that he has seen every Indiana Jones movie. He has seen 7 or 8 times each one.
Just make sure you get him to admit that the last one sucked. Just because the last one was terrible. It should have never been made. Oh God, it's like watching Halloween 3 or something. Oh God, it's just terrible. It was really
bad. Yeah. So anyway, I'm interested to see him. I mean, again, he's been in the U.S. youth system. He was good enough at the U17 World Cup that the scouts in Europe were interested in him, and he's been playing over there for 4 years. He actually has a little British accent, by the way, even though he's from Savannah, Georgia. He's been in England for 4 years, and he definitely speaks with a little bit of a British accent. So if he can play,
he Madonna'd the whole thing now.
He did kind of Madonna, and John Harkes also did that. Other players didn't. Like other players went there and just stayed talking the way they normally. But John Harkes definitely came back with an accent. This kid definitely, he has an accent, and some of the phrases and stuff he used was very English. So, I'll be curious to see how he does. He definitely seems hungry, and he's being brought in for a reason. So we'll see.
All right. What are your thoughts against the Red Bulls? Any shot? Because they could lose the next 4 or 5 games. I looked at the schedule.
They have such a tough stretch coming. They have the Red Bulls, they have New England. Although this is probably a bad thing that they lost, but they lost to Toronto last night. They lost, yes, and so now Miami may be the worst team in the East, not the second worst team. But Toronto beat New England 3-2, I think was the score. Bruce Arena was definitely not happy afterward. I saw his comments. He was very snippy. So, that's going to be a tough game. I mean, the Red Bulls are tough. New England has been one of the top teams, all season. And then you have Philadelphia in that run and another game with Montreal in that run and Nashville. I think those are the next 5. Nobody easy. I mean, I can't say anyone below them because there's really almost nobody is below them. Everyone they're going to be playing now is ahead of them in the standings. I don't know. It's going to be back at, same place. Red Bulls. They had luck last year. They did not have luck there this past game. It's going to be tough. I have to tell you the truth. They have a very tough stretch coming up. Now, I think that Higuain should have started the last game because when he came in, he made an automatic difference. The minute he came in the second half, everything changed. They played horrible in the first half. He came in and everything changed. He elevated everybody else's game. He drew 2 fouls right away. They got free kicks. He took a couple shots. So, he came in and made a difference right away. And I don't know why. If he's not able to play 90 minutes, okay. But why not play him at the beginning and let him get the momentum started? Maybe they score a goal, get ahead instead of digging into a hole. And then if he gets tired, take him out.
Last week he brought in Federico with 90 seconds left. Lately the substitutions from Neville have left me baffled. You bring in Federico with 90 seconds left in the game. 2 weeks ago, he brings in Federico and Jovan Jones in the 70th minute or something when he should have brought him in at the beginning of the second half to start 80th minute, right? And he should have brought him in right to start the second half because you didn't do anything in the first half. And I got to say, I haven't picked on Neville much, but lately, the last couple of games, I got to say his substitutions have been very questionable. Very questionable.
Yeah, I mean, I asked him afterward, and I don't think I really like Phil, and he usually answers the questions very thoroughly. But I asked him point blank, I said, if Gonzalo can't play 90 minutes, if he's not fit for 90 minutes, he can play only 45. Why not have him play the first 45 minutes rather than the second 45 minutes? Why not just bring him in to start and then, when he gets tired, take him out. And then maybe by then you already have a lead. Maybe he's already scored by then,
And I'll give you something else. He's an older player. So you have him warming up and then you have him sitting an entire half and then you're going to bring him out. Whereas if he's warming up, well, then the body's ready to go. I'm with you. Start him in those first 45 and get something going. You actually put him more at risk by sitting an older player like that all the way through to the second half. Unless that guy is trained to be that guy, and that's not Federico. I mean, that's not Higuain, Gonzalo. He's not a sub. He's been a starter his whole time. So I'm with you. I think that's a great point on your part.
Well, he said that he's going to start the next game. He point blank said Gonzalo is going to start on July 17th. We will see if that is the case. But in my opinion, he should, what do I know? But I think he should start every time he comes in. He does make a difference. And, I don't know if it's part of these sort of, I don't want to say punishment, but basically until you're fit, you're not going to start, because he said he's on a very strict, he did say as part of the answer, Gonzalo is on a very strict fitness program. We are sticking to what we said. We're sticking to the fitness program. And we understand that in doing so, we have taken one of our top offensive players out of the starting lineup. but we are doing this for a reason. It's for the betterment of the team. It's for the betterment of him for the long term. They really are looking at this 5-game stretch coming up as really, really, really critical, obviously, because if they don't do anything in these next 5 games, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's a long season. If you get a couple of games in a row, you get 6 points. It's not like the teams are that far apart point wise. Right. You win a couple of games and you move up from 13th place to 9th or 8th. So, I have to trust that they have some kind of plan and that they know more than I do, because I'm just a sports writer and these guys are getting paid to coach a professional soccer team. So I hope they know more what they're doing. As an outsider looking in, I didn't understand why he didn't start the last game, but he said that he's going to start the next game. So we'll see.
Follow her on Twitter at Koff Sports. Make sure you catch her work there at the Miami Herald website. And, of course, follow her on Twitter because she'll be tweeting out during that game on Saturday night against the Red Bulls. Michelle Kaufman, thank you very much. And, by the way, those glasses are super cool.
Oh, thank you. They're made of bamboo. They're really cool. Look, it's wood on the side.
Oh,
you see that?
Nice.
Yeah, I have them in a few colors. Yep, thank you.
Yep,
I'm ready to be an influencer. If Blue Planet is the name of this company, if they want to, pay me some dough, I do love these glasses.
There you go. Come on, Blue Planet. Spring the cash. Let's go. Michelle, thank you. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
You got it. The great Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald covering your Inter Miami CF squad, which it's been ugly, man. It has absolutely been ugly what's gone on with Inter Miami. All right, if you want to get in, remember many ways to contribute to the program. YouTube channel right here on the chat board. You can get in. You can send in your comments, your questions, your insults, your compliments. Every once in a while, we can take one of those. Twitter, please follow us there at Big O Show. You can find out about everything, a guest that's coming up, what's coming up on the upcoming show, if there's a giveaway, if there's whatever, what I mean, any stupid thing that I want to post up there, you can check it all out. You can email us at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. That's bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. And of course, Cash App is another way you can support us. Cash Big O Show is the address at Cash App. You can download the app there and support us. Cash Big O Show. Much better option than the Super Chat, because the Super Chat, they take away 30% of what you donate to the show. Cash App, the show gets it all. So we thank those of you out there for using any of them, but we'd prefer that you use Cash App, because that's the best way to support us, to make sure we get everything there. Bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Kyle Krabs. Now, this is the only time he's joining us that it won't be the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report with Kyle Krabs, because that's what's going to start in August. So in August, every Wednesday, starting in August, from here on out all year long, not just during the football season, Kyle is going to be with us throughout the offseason, draft, all that kind of stuff. Kyle Krabs does an excellent job. He, of course, is the director of scouting for the Draft Network. He's also the lead editor of the Dolphin Wire, and he will be joining us now every Wednesday with our Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report with Kyle Krabs. So check that out. So that's another element that we've added to our show. So we're really excited about that. And Kyle will be joining us in about 10 minutes. He'll be joining us, and we'll have some fun with him. Dougie Fresh says, is about to interview Kyle Krabs today. If you don't know him, perhaps one of the best Fins analysts out there. Yes, he is. That's why we got him on. That's why we locked him in. That's why we're putting together the kind of radio show that the hardcore South Florida sports fan around the world wants to hear. Give you Ira Winderman. That's kind of what it's all about. Give you Omar Kelly. Give you Kyle Krabs. So, and more to come. We're gonna lock down more folks and lock down more segments. I'm working on a national guy also now to add to the show. So we're doing all kinds of stuff that we're going to make sure we have the kind of show that every week you guys, all right, this is must tune in. I got to find out about my Dolphins. I got to find out about my Heat. Got to find out about my Canes. We got Manny Navarro here every week now, twice a week. So you're going to get all of those players joining us every single week. So thank you all out there for your incredible support. Without you guys, we will not be able to do this, man. It's impossible to do this without you guys. So thank you all out there for always taking care of us. And we thank Michelle Kaufman for stopping by too here on the program. What else do we have to talk about here on the show? I saw this article and it's kind of an interesting article because SI was talking about the mock draft for 2022, right? And in the mock draft for 2022, I looked at it, and the thing that stood out to me was what was missing in the mock draft of 2022. Do you know what was missing? A Florida State, a Florida, or Miami player. Now, that's not to say that by the end of the upcoming college football season, that maybe somebody out of those three teams ends up, becoming a player in the draft. But Carson Strong from Nevada is number one. George Karlaftis from Purdue. The Thibodeau guy from Oregon is there. DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M, Ohio State, LSU, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Ohio State, USC, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, Texas A&M, Alabama, Arizona State, UCLA, Western Michigan has got a player in their mock for next year, the quarterback, Caleb Ellaby. Oklahoma, Washington, Rutgers has a cornerback, Avery Young, who they have in the first round. Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia, Oklahoma, Northern Iowa has a tackle in Trevor Penning. UConn, Travis Jones, a defensive tackle. Syracuse, Garrett Williams, a cornerback. Let's see, North Carolina State, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Those are the schools involved in their mock. Is that crazy or what? I mean, I looked at that list just to see and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, just to kind of throw it out there, they had the Miami Dolphins selecting at number 18, okay? And they ended up with Shea Ryan, a tackle out of UCLA, which it's like, did you guys do your homework? Like, they've drafted multiple tackles in the last couple of years. They're not drafting another tackle, but whatever. It is what it is. I mean, the Eichenberg kid, I think, is going to start. That one was kind of crazy. But either way, in their top 32, not a Florida, Florida State, or University of Miami player involved in it. I don't know how many times that's happened in the draft. Maybe, by next year, maybe somebody will be in that mix. But I saw that and I was like, wow, that's messed up, dude. That's just insulting for all three programs, because you would figure every year Florida, Florida State, and Miami have got to have at least one first rounder in the mix, right? I mean, if you're Florida, Florida State, and Miami, you should. There's no reason for you not to have that. Fitzgerald Grass says, Fitz from Naples. Great to have you back. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's good to be back. Appreciate you. James Roman says, bring back Papinga. We can bring him on. I'll bring Brady on. I had Brady on the show at Onside couple months ago. Like maybe not even a couple months ago. Maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I brought him on towards the end of the run there. So yeah. But we will bring on Brady. Love Brady, obviously. I get along great with Brady. I don't know if I can bother him every week. That's a whole different ball game. But there you go. All right. Appreciate it. Let's see, what else do we have going on? I found that crazy. No UM, no Florida State players in the mock for 2022. That's nuts. The East-West Shrine game is moving. I don't know if some of you saw this story, but the East-West Shrine is now going to be played right around the same week of the Senior Bowl. Normally, it was East-West week, then the Senior Bowl week was the off week before the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl week. But now the East-West Shrine is going to play their game on the 3rd of February, which is a Thursday. Senior Bowl will play their game on Saturday the 5th. So a lot of NFL teams, I mean, sometimes you have teams that will go a week for the NFL to the East-West, and then they'll go over to the Senior Bowl the following week. Very few do that. More often than not, you'll break it up. But if anybody wants to cross over, they could. Because I've seen some scouts at the East-West, and then I see them the following week in the Senior Bowl. I mean, lots of scouts, actually, not some, lots. In fact, everybody that goes to the East-West usually will end up in the Senior Bowl, not vice versa. Everybody at the Senior Bowl does not go to the East-West. They only send a small contingent to the East-West Shrine. It's the number 2 bowl game. But it's interesting because we're going to have Eric Galko on. I've known Eric Galko, man, for almost 20 years now, from when he was a draft analyst to working for NFL teams, and now he's running the East-West Shrine game. Okay, so it's pretty cool to have a friend actually run the East-West Shrine game, and it's interesting how he moved it up and he moved it to Vegas. It's no longer in St. Pete. It's been in St. Pete for like 6 years. It was in Orlando for 2 years. Then it moved to St. Pete. Before that, it was in San Antonio for 2 years, and it was in Houston for 2 years. And then before that, it was in San Francisco where it originated, and it was there for like 50-something years or something. I forgot how long it was. But it's moved ever since, and now it moved again, and now it's in Vegas. And it's, by the way, the Pro Bowl is being played in Vegas also next year. So you're going to have the East-West Shrine and then the Pro Bowl being played at, what is it called? The Legends Field or whatever, the Raiders Stadium. Man, I got to tell you, just the fact to go to Vegas, that part right there, that's that almost makes it worth it for me to miss a little bit of the Senior Bowl. But it's crazy because I was thinking about this. If the East-West practices on the 30th, on Sunday the 30th, Monday the 31st, and then Tuesday the 1st, then I can fly out to the Senior Bowl and then watch practice for a couple of days there and then come back home after that. I might do it that way. Although I'll go a little earlier to Vegas because, of course, it's Vegas, baby. And maybe I got to hit a concert or two while I'm in Vegas. So the East-West Shrine now, the last time I went there for a bowl game, it was the Las Vegas Football Classic, and it was 20 years ago. 20-something years ago, whatever it was one of the last Las Vegas Football Classics. It's crazy. So now they're back in Vegas. A bowl game in Vegas, I mean, even if you weren't doing anything there, it's still great to go there. You know what I'm saying? It's fantastic. All right, we promised you that we're going to talk to Kyle Krabs. And Kyle Krabs, of course, Kyle is the director of scouting for the Draft Network. He's also the lead editor of the Dolphins Wire. You can follow him on Twitter like I and many others do at Grinding the Tape. And he's also now a partner of our program because starting in August, he will join us weekly on Wednesdays to talk a little Dolphins. Kyle, good afternoon, my brother. How are you doing, sir?
Listen, we are just on the cusp of training camp here, and it's right around the corner, and that's the sweetest sound you could possibly tell me is that we're going to have Dolphins football and some new storylines, right? Because I think the off-season storylines have kind of exhausted themselves from a national perspective in the Dolphins.
Amen.
And, hey, is Tua going to be good, or is Tua on the hot seat, or what's Tua going to do? And it's like, well, we're going to find out. But at the same time, there's a lot of other really compelling dynamics to this team that I don't think a lot of people spend a lot of time focusing on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, and I'm excited for the season, Kyle, because I'm one of the guys that I truly feel this is going to be a really good team. I think they're going to go to the playoffs. I love what this coaching staff is doing. I love the way this front office has built this team, and in covering this team for 30 years, I haven't seen anybody build the team the right way. And finally, I think Chris Greer is actually building the team the right way, where he is taking care of the now and still keeping an eye on the future and keeping flexibility down the line, which I absolutely love that. And he also keeps flexibility when it comes to his contracts. When he tries to re-sign his players or free agents, he doesn't bury himself with contracts that are impossible to get out of. I just think everything is very thought out and it's planned very well up until this point.
Yeah, there's no accidents, it feels like, right? There's no panic. There's simply action, new information, new action that's followed, and it's all very deliberate. And you think about the running back position, and that's such a hot button topic for Dolphins fans specifically. And they're showcasing what they think their worth at that position is, what they're willing to invest in that position. And it might not be a popular position to take, but like you look at how they have chosen to spend these premium picks that they have: quarterback, offensive tackle, pass rusher, an explosive weapon that was a little bit of a need pick, but at the same time, over the Draft Network, we had Jalen Waddle as our wide receiver 1, and he was a top 8 player on our board. So that was still good value too. And it just happened to marry up with position of need. And like you said, I think the really big thing when you compare and contrast it to especially the Tannenbaum era, when he was there in the mid 2010s, contractual approach to roster building, and we're going to sign you to a 5-year deal, and then we're going to restructure you 12 months from now so we can sign a 31-year-old guard whose best time is probably behind him in the NFL. And it's like, no, we'll wait it out. We're not going to sign Nelson Aguilar is going for $12 million per. Kenny Galladay's going for $18 per. Nah, we're good. We'll wait out, and we'll give Will Fuller $3 million in incentives and sign him to a $10 million 1-year deal instead. And it's like they're playing a totally different game from a cap perspective than what in my time, let alone your time, you've been covering this team a lot longer than I have, than I could ever remember the Dolphins going about handling salary cap, draft assets, players on the roster, you name it.
I'm with you, man. It's to me, it's just there's a high IQ of what's going on right now, and I think Dolphin fans are finally going to reap the benefits of this on the field. All right, let's go over a couple of things. First of all, let's talk a little bit about X, and I see it 3 ways. You tell me which one. Does he get the extension? Do they give him more guarantees? Or does he end up getting traded, Kyle?
I think Brian Flores worded this very interestingly because he said it's a renegotiation. He said he's looking for a renegotiation of the deal that they've already signed, right? Because if I'm the Dolphins, I'm not interested in extending Xavier Howard when I have 4 years of control. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And from Xavier Howard's perspective, I don't know necessarily that more guaranteed money is going to move the needle for me. I want more compensation, period, because I'm looking at what Byron Jones is getting paid. I'm looking at what Jalen Ramsey's getting paid. I'm 14th in the NFL in new cash this year if I'm Xavier Howard. Coming off of the year that I had last year with 10 picks, I'm not even in the top 10. My W-2 is going to have less money on it than more than 10 other corners across the league this year. So I know people will cite and say, well, he's 6th in annual average salary on his contract out of all corners in the league, but they gave him the $7 million signing bonus when he was still on the last year of his rookie deal. So X wants more compensation, and I think that's where it gets really tricky. So Miami really doesn't have an incentive unless he's willing to sit out games to play ball with him here. So I tend to think Miami is going to take their time with this and see just how far Xavier Howard's willing to take this. And if Xavier Howard's willing to start missing game checks, well, now you're kind of flying in the face of saying, well, my objective is to get more money, because now you're giving away a lot of money if you start doing that. So it's a really complicated situation, but I don't think there's an easy answer here. And I think that's why you see it kind of stuck in the mud the way it is.
I think he gets traded, dude. I really do. I think when it's all said and done, I think they planned with Noah. And if he shows enough this offseason here in the preseason and all of that, they're going to feel comfortable by the end of the year to try to move him. And if it's not by this deadline, then it'll be in the offseason leading into the draft so they can go get themselves more picks. And if there's a team out there that thinks they're a corner away from winning it all, like the Rams have gone all in. They've made all kinds of moves that they're kind of selling out for it also. If you can get a team like that, I think that's what Chris Grier is looking forward to. I think he's looking forward to moving X and probably getting more draft capital down the line.
I think there's a team out there that desperately needs corners that Miami has done some business with in the past, and that's Arizona. And Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury on the hot seat and Kyler Murray going into year 3, like they're in a really tough division. Patrick Peterson's out the door. He's playing in Minnesota now. Like their corner room stinks. So they traded for Rodney Hudson already this offseason. They gave away a day 2 pick for that. That would be an interesting destination for me if I'm Chris Grier, because if things don't go well in Arizona, you're not looking at a pick like the Rams. I think the ceiling from that pick in the draft order is the mid-20s. Well, Arizona, I could totally see the wheels falling off the bus with bad coaching of Cliff Kingsbury. And you could be talking about another top half of the first round type pick, depending on if you do trade him, when you're comfortable, if you can get Arizona interested in him. So I think it's more likely Miami trades him than they concede and give him new money with 4 years remaining on his deal. So I'll agree with you on that front. I think it's more likely that they call his bluff and decide to move on if they can get a price that they like.
And a great point on you on the Arizona one, because you're also not paying the quarterback yet.
Right.
So as you know, and everybody listening and watching, once you pay the quarterback, you're screwed, dude. Then now you're in a completely different situation. By the way, Kyle Krabs, you can follow him on Twitter at Grinding the Tape. Make sure you follow him on Twitter and catch him there at the Draft Network. All right, let's go through a couple of other things. What's your prediction at center and right tackle, my brother? What ends up happening there? I know it's a little early, and we'll see them play it out finally. But what's your gut tell you right now at center and right tackle?
Well, they made no firm commitments to Matt Skura, and they did spend a 3rd round pick on Michael Dieter 2 years ago, and it sounds like he's going to get a shot at that. Dieter started 10-plus spots at tackle, guard, and center at Wisconsin, so he's got experience all over the line during his college years. Came in as a rookie, started 15 games. Obviously, they made the big investment. They signed Eric Flowers. Eric Flowers takes a spot based off financials, and we know how that story ends because Eric Flowers is back on the Washington football team. So I think the ideal outcome for Miami is you see Austin Jackson at left tackle. You see Solomon Kinley at his natural spot where he played at Georgia at left guard. Ideally, I would love to see Dieter win the center job and then have Robert Hunt at right guard and Liam Eichenberg at right tackle. I think that's your utopian outcome from a ceiling perspective. These are all guys that the team has invested in the last 2 years. Whether or not it materializes that way or not, they may want somebody with more experience, in which case then, maybe Matt Skura does take the center spot because he's experienced as a starter during his time in Baltimore. But I think that's the best outcome. I do think Robert Hunt could play tackle at a quality level. I thought he played really well in the run game down the stretch for Miami last year. You think on almost any 20-plus yard run that they had finally when they started getting him in the back half of the season was off right tackle, right? Running behind Robert Hunt. So he was okay in pass protection. I think he could grow there, but if they feel his ceiling is better at guard, then I'm not going to argue with him just because I think his movement skills do put a little bit of a glass ceiling on him at right tackle.
All right. I like that. And listen, and that's if Dieter ends up at center and Eichenberg ends up at right tackle, one of the things that I've told fans is that would be amazing that they drafted all 5 guys.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that would be a sick accomplishment, and even sicker as Dolphin fans, because, man, for the last 20 years, they couldn't find more than 2 or 3 legit linemen. They could never find 5, but the fact that you find 5 and you drafted all 5, that would be an incredible accomplishment. How many teams do that? How many teams end up drafting all 5 of their guys?
And that's a testament to Chris Grier, and this is something I've talked a little bit about on Locked On Dolphins, and this is kind of one of my own personal ideologies about building a roster, is there's a difference between addressing needs and investing at positions. And you've seen the Dolphins invest in the offensive line under Chris Greer like I cannot remember them ever doing whatsoever. The trenches in general, on both sides of the football, it's a very
I agree.
New England Patriots-esque, which you would expect with Greer and his experience and Brian Flores and his background in New England. But for them to continue, it would have been really easy to come out of this past year and say, well, we had 3 rookie starters. We're probably good. We have Eric Flowers. So let's just sign one guy to replace the center and call it a day. But they chose to once again draft that position early, but also to trade up and get Liam Eichenberg. So they are very, very committed to getting the trenches right in front of whoever's playing quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, this season, whether it'll be him long-term or not. This will be a big statement year for Tua in that capacity, but I really genuinely appreciate the fact that Chris Greer is not just resting on his laurels saying, well, we drafted 3 last year. They were all starters by the end of the year. Let's see what we got again next year. No, let's get more bodies in here, more competition. And then you got sign guys like DJ Fluker and Jermaine Illuminor to come in who have positional flexibility to play guard or tackle, both of those guys. So you can really make these guys in the pressure cooker now and really force the best 5 guys to really rise to the top.
It's funny because, Kyle, it's a cliche, right, that people have talked about for years. When you build a football team, you build it from inside out.
Right.
And while it's a cliche, it's actually the reality of what we're watching these Dolphins. They have built this team from inside out, making all those commitments to both sides of the line.
Yeah, and it's kind of inverse of where their spending is right now. I don't know if you've seen the positional spending, but they're like number 1 in the NFL in the secondary, and I believe they're still in the top 5 in wide receiver spending, which is crazy to think about based on specifically the wide receiver spot, what they've gotten out of that group. But I think you'll start to see those scales kind of come to balance a little bit in about 2 years once you make some more transactions and you're trying to maintain the nucleus of the team. But they were top of the NFL in these positions way out on the perimeter. Well, now you got a bunch of young guys. You're hoping to get quality play on rookie contracts for 2 or 3 years in a bunch of key spots on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And if you get that, then that really opens the door as you cut some of that dead weight in those perimeter positions to bring in a key guy here that can really continue to transform either one of those groups if you deem that's necessary. Ideally, these guys just continue to develop. And I think fans should have a reasonable expectation that some of these guys are going to come in this year and they'll be the exact same player that they were last year. There'll be another group of guys who come in and they're marginally better than they were the year before. And hopefully you get 2 or 3 guys on either side of the ball who come in who are young guys who are exponentially better than they were last year. And not everybody's development is on a singular linear curve going up like this as players, but who those players are that make the big jump is really going to help define what this season looks like.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Grinding the Tape. He is Kyle Krabs. And of course, you can catch him now weekly starting in August, every Wednesday exclusively here on the Big O Radio Show. So make sure you catch him here every Wednesday, Dolphin fans. And we'll be breaking it down here with the director of scouting from the Draft Network. All right, so where do you stand on the Gesicki thing? Because a lot of people feel that the drafting a Hunter, he's out the door. I disagree. I think they want to have a 2 tight end attack. I think it creates more mismatches. I think it makes life easy for a quarterback, and I think they know that. That's why New England also got themselves 2 tight ends, because they had already experimented that in prior years with the murderer and Gronk running around on the field. So now we look at what the Dolphins are doing. I think they're going to sign Gesicki to a long-term contract because, like I told Omar, you sign him to a long-term deal, he only has to live out to 3 or 4 years of the deal. By that time, you're now in turn giving Hunter a new contract. Gesicki's out the door, and you can then draft another guy to pair with Hunter while you pay Hunter. I think that's the cycle that's going to end up happening. I think Gesicki gets that contract. I don't think he gets the 3rd contract because I think then they'll move on at that point. I think that's the plan. What do you think?
It's a really tough one for me to decide what side of the fence I want to sit on, because you look at the passing splits from last year and the offensive production when they were in 12 personnel and had 2 tight ends on the field. Both Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa were more efficient passers when there were 2 tight ends on the field versus when they were 11 and only 1 tight end on the field. Like, comfortably, both players. Like, the offense was more balanced. What that looks like with this group and George Gotze and Eric Studesville is yet to be determined. We'll see what that offense looks like. And I definitely think Mike has the potential to be a really high-value player, particularly in the red zone with his catch radius. When he does work up the seam, once Tua continues to get a little bit more aggressive and looks to take some of those seam shots, get in between the second and third level of the defense and has confidence there, that's where Mike really wins. But Mike is a little bit of a player who, at the tight end position, has some handcuffs and limitations to his game that I think you have to be willing to accept, in that being he's not a guy who plays with his hand in the dirt. He played approximately 20% of his snaps in line last year. He played 60-something% in the slot, and he took another 18 or so percent of his snaps as an outside wide receiver. So he's taken less than 20% of his snaps with his hand in the dirt as a true tight end. So that's the value of Hunter Long, no question. But it's, what do you want the rest of the skill group to look like? You bring in Jalen Waddle, you bring in Will Fuller. Are you going to fully commit to that archetype of receiver? And if you do, how Mike fits into that might be not universal. It might be more on a week-to-week matchup style basis, which we've heard this coaching staff talk about wanting to be multiple, and they want to match personnel on any given week and identify mismatches. But if that's the role that he has to play, what are they going to be willing to pay him? Are you going to pay Mike Gesicki $10, $11, $12 million a year, which is probably what it's going to cost when you look at the market reset at the tight end position, with George Kittle getting $15 million a year and Travis Kelce signing for 14.2. Those guys signed like 2 weeks apart last year. And you have this big void. And now in free agency this year, you got Jonnu Smith, who Mike Gesicki's a better player than, and Hunter Henry, who's a good tight end as a traditional inline guy, but durability has been something that's given him trouble. New England gave both of those guys $12 million a year. So if Mike Gesicki's going to look at that and he puts up 750 yards this year and goes back to Miami and says, look, I understand, like, for you, I might be more of a matchup specific type guy, but these other tight ends are getting 12 million per season. That's my expectation. Is Miami going to be willing to pay that? I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm stuck on forecasting whether or not this gets done or not.
It's interesting when you bring it up that way because of the salary and the commitments. Now, I would expect the cap to explode next year because of all the new TV money that's going to come in. And then obviously all the stadiums will be packed this year. So revenue streams are going to go up, and they've been able to create some other digital revenue streams also that they didn't have in prior years. So I would imagine that the cap is going to explode. So the 12 million next year may not be nearly as crippling as it sounds, but I almost feel like, do you agree? Because you just said it in the opening statement on how efficient the two quarterbacks were in 2 tight end sets. Maybe they're going to spend an extra million or 2 or 3 per year because it guarantees their quarterback to be incredibly efficient too.
Yeah, I think so, especially if you have somebody who you're comfortable with playing the inline role, right? Because that's not where Mike's ever going to win. And that was what was crazy about 2018 when you draft Mike, and he's never played inline in his life at Penn State. And Adam Gase has him pass protecting on 1 out of every 5 snaps he took as a rookie last year. It's like, okay, here's your sign, like, come on, let's get on the same page here. But as far as the cap goes, the NFLPA and the NFL owners, I believe it was early in June, agreed upon the ceiling for next year is going to be $208.5 million. That's not guaranteed it's going to get that high. It's going to be dependent upon revenue sharing, like you said, with the stadium deals and ticket sales and all that kind of stuff. But knowing that this year it's like 182, and they've given themselves the wiggle room to go all the way up to 108 or 208.5 million is a really good sign that, as you said, that cap room is going to grow, and how big it grows is just going to determine how much wiggle room Miami has and how they want to structure any new money that they're giving out in big deals. But they're scheduled right now to be in the top 6 in cap space for 2022 as things currently stand. No matter what the number comes, it's just going to be how much spending power they end up having.
Kyle, who's the rookie that you expect to make the biggest impact this season for the Miami Dolphins?
Javon Holland. The fact that they were willing
that's my boy. All right.
Willing to part ways with Bobby McCain as quickly as they were, I think speaks volumes. And, Bobby had experience playing outside corner, had experience in the nickel, obviously then played in free safety for Brian Flores, had a lot of experience. Javon Holland, you watched him at Oregon his freshman year. He played effectively high post safety all the time, single high free. And then you watched him in 2019, his last year there, and he was almost exclusively in the nickel. And that was when they drafted him. I said, okay, there's your big upgrade at nickel that we've been waiting for over UDFA and Nick Needham, who's held that spot for the last 2 years. Well, then you cut Bobby McCain, and that was a huge endorsement in my mind. And everything you have heard from national guys who are talking to any coaches down in Miami is that Javon Holland has blown them away already with his football IQ, his versatility, everything he's capable of doing. And I think it'll be a different story than what we saw with Noah Igbenogany when they drafted him. And we were like, why isn't he getting looks inside? Well, the coaching staff told us this offseason, our focus was on getting him reps in the fundamentals of playing corner, because he'd only played corner at Auburn for 2 years. He came in as a wide receiver. So we wanted to make sure he knew the fundamentals of the position before we worried about putting more on his plate from a mental perspective to play in the nickel where there's so much going on. If Javon Holland's already blowing this coaching staff away with his football intelligence and what he's capable of, I think that's going to position him to be the player that they're willing to move around a ton and put in a ton of positions to have success and play down in the slot and play high post safety and play nickel linebacker when they need to. All those things that Minkah Fitzpatrick pouted about having to do in practice for 2 weeks. Right. He's willing to do those things, and he did those things at Oregon. So I think that for me is the role that is all the tea leaves right now are saying this is going to be a really good fit.
I'm with you. I think Holland is going to be an absolutely monster of a player, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch him take over in that spot. And again, it's interesting because before this group took over, it wasn't you were playing this traditional type of safeties that weren't necessarily guys that had cover skills at times. They were guys that could cover space, but not necessarily men. Whereas now, since these guys took over, it's a requirement that your safeties have cover skills, because if they do not, these guys have no use for you whatsoever.
Right. And what the Dolphins love to do when you get in third and long is they love to walk linebackers up into both gaps, in the A gaps. And they love that amoeba front where there's guys moving around at the snap. They love to press everybody at the line of scrimmage, go cover zero on the back end, and they say, we're going to bring one more body than you're capable of blocking. Good luck getting the ball out in 2 seconds. And if you have a safety who can't cover at the line of scrimmage or doesn't have that experience, good luck. He's going to get toasted, and you're going to give up big plays left and right. So the challenge for Bobby McCain was Bobby wasn't necessarily a great tackler. And I think you saw that show up at times where he had corner experience, but too many times when he was last line of defense, the Raiders game, the long play to Aguilar on that big pendulum fourth quarter against the Raiders where Byron Jones got beat at the catch point when Carr got flushed to his right and threw it, and it was the 80-yard touchdown pass. And Bobby did not look comfortable out in open field. And it's you got to be able to tackle. So that's the big upgrade for Javon Holland, that he's a very, very good tackler in the run game, in addition to in space, versus what Bobby McCain was. So you talk about the cover skills. There's no question. They want everybody to be able to cover. Eric Rowe's one of the best safeties right now in covering tight ends across the NFL. If your name wasn't Travis Kelce or Darren Waller, you didn't get anything on Eric Rowe last year. Now, those guys each went out and got 100-something yards, but Rowe was right there on Waller a couple of times and could have very easily had 2 picks in that game. It was just Waller beat him at the catch point. It is what it is. That's why he's one of the best tight ends in the NFL.
When people say, well, he struggled against Waller, he's going to struggle against Kittle, and he's going to struggle against Kelce. Guess what? Everybody's going to struggle against those 3 freaking guys. Those guys are monsters, man. Those guys are impossible to cover. It's like watching Tony Gonzalez back in the day, or any of these kind of great tight ends. I don't care who the hell you are, you're going to struggle. But let me tell you something about Javon Holland and watching a lot of his highlights and And when we were doing draft profiles on our station, when we were doing Onside, the only safety I had in a draft profile was Javon Holland. And because that guy, one of the things that I loved about it, and I'm sure, Kyle, you obviously grind the tape way more than we do, his instincts, not just for the pass game, but you talked about run support. He sniffs that stuff out. And that's the other thing about Holland that to me stood out is his instincts and how he reacts to whether it's the pass game or the run game. If he's at the line of scrimmage, he just reads things and anticipates very well.
It's a testament to, his dad played in the CFL for 3 years and has been a very active part in his training and development as a player. And I think you can very easily see football has been a part of Javon Holland's life for his entire life. And those instincts really bleed through, and not necessarily dissimilar to a rookie from the 2020 class who also had a dad who was a football player, and Antoine Winfield Jr., who went down to Tampa Bay. And he was kind of that same instinctual type player. And you saw the impact that Antoine Winfield Jr. had on the Bucs defense last year. And I think Javon Holland is going to have the opportunity and has the skills and the instincts to have that same kind of impact this year. So when you ask me who's the rookie that's really going to make the noise, that's why that's the first place my mind goes.
All right. Before I let you go, I got to ask this. Will the dual OCs work? We see it in college. Nobody's done it in the NFL yet. Will the Dolphins be successful? Do you like this combination?
I like the potential that it brings from Godsey called, I believe it was 18 games in Houston as the play caller for Bill O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien turned him into the sacrificial lamb and took back over play calling duties. And lo and behold, the offense was no better when O'Brien was calling it than when Godsey was calling it. But they ran a lot of tempo when Godsey was there. I think they were 12th or 13th in the league in tempo the full season that he called plays for the Houston Texans. And that was when they had like Brian Hoyer at quarterback in the mid 2010s. So I like that dynamic. I think you look at what they did at the quarterback position or the quarterback coach position to tap into the college ranks, brought somebody in who worked under Jim McElwain, who had a ton of tempo experience. Then you take Eric Studesville and what he brings to the table as somebody who's really experienced in the run game coordinator. He's coached up running backs a really long time and really good as far as backs and pass protection and how to make that work. I think you blend their skills together. It's just going to be a question of who is going to end up specifically calling the plays. But this is a guy giving attention to the passing game and a guy giving attention to the running game. And then they sit down together and say, here's the concepts that I've identified in the passing game that are going to work this week against this opponent. Here are the running game concepts that I feel are going to work best. How do we marry those things together? Because one of the things that coaches that building a game plan is not creating new plays every single week, right? It's how do we find the same 5 or 6 core staple concepts and package them 5 or 6 different ways and then have a counter off of that and then have a special play off of that. And it's so giving each one of those guys the chance to focus on each facet of the offense should ideally give you twice as much mind power. It's just, how does that work in real time when you're in a game? Who's calling plays? I don't think it's one of those things where you're going to be able to get away with somebody doing it on a different week, on a week-to-week basis. That has to be somebody's job to call plays. And if you want to have collaborative effort when the other team has the ball, as far as, hey, we did this possession, here's what I had in the run game is something we can maybe bring to the table. I think it'll be George Godsey because he does have experience calling plays. He did it for a season and a quarter with Houston. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work just for the fact that it's 2 guys who have co-title. It might not work because they're not the right guys or the personnel. Somebody gets hurt or somebody doesn't take a step forward that you need to. But I don't think the fact that it's 2 co-coordinators is going to be a limiting factor that would automatically disqualify this from working.
Follow him on Twitter at Grinding the Tape. Catch his work there at the Draft Network. He is the lead editor of the Dolphins Wire. He is Kyle Krabs. And more importantly, you're also going to catch him here exclusively here in South Florida. You can only hear him right here on our show, on the Big O Radio Show every Wednesday, and that'll start in August. So in a couple weeks, Kyle will be joining us every week to talk a little Dolphins football. Looking forward to it, Kyle. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining the family. Have a fantastic week. Before I let you go, what are you working on on the podcast or on the Draft Network so folks can check you out?
Yeah, so the podcast to close this week and looking at the offensive line and kind of outlining some objectives for the rookies from last year. So Solomon Kinley, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, what is their biggest measuring stick of progress? That'll be the show that comes out tomorrow for the Friday episode of Locked On Dolphins. Looking forward to that. Try and do all my long form writing at the Draft Network as it pertains to Dolphin stuff. We did stuff on what would Xavier Howard contract look like? What would Xavier Howard trade package look like if they did decide to trade him? Those have been a couple of my more long form stuffs. And then anything that's topical and quick hitting is over at dolphinswire.com as well. So a couple different places you can catch me. Appreciate the consideration.
Great stuff. Kyle, appreciate you, my brother. Welcome aboard. We'll talk starting in August, my friend. Be good.
That sounds great. You too.
You got it. There you go. Kyle Krabs, man. Good stuff there. Appreciate that. How about that, man? Huh? There you go. That was an excellent conversation right there with Kyle Krabs. I love it. All right. Give us 1 minuto, just 1 minuto, or maybe even 30 seconds. All right. Just give us about 30 seconds here, and we will be back with you, and we'll start hour number 3. There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate all of you out there. We thank Kyle Krabs, and of course, for those of you that are just tuning in, the show has grown again. We will have Kyle on every week starting on in August, so you will hear him exclusively here on our show. And we will, for those of you that are Dolphins fans, we are going to do our own pre and post game show right here. You'll catch it on YouTube. We'll podcast it, all of that good stuff. And we're going to be at Sports Grill. All right. And it'll be either Sports Grill Bird Road or Sports Grill in Miami Lakes. We will alternate between those two. We will do half the season in one and half the season in the other. Okay. Or maybe a little more, right? Because it's 9 or 8, right? Because it's 17 this year, not 16. So one of the spots is going to get 9 and the other one's going to get 8. I'm going to root for Bird Road to get the 9 and Miami Lakes to get the 8. Okay. Why am I going to do that? Because Bird Road's closer to my house, man. Come on. I mean, why would you even worry about it, even think about it or ask? I got to go with convenience. So I don't know which one we're going to do, first half or second half, where it's going to be at. The owner will decide and we'll figure it out. Carlos will tell me, yo, we need you here for this half and that one for that half. But we'll have some fun. And once their new location is done in Doral at the Doral City Center, that's really going to be our home the following year. We'll be there the entire time. But if the one at the Doral City Center is open by sometime in December or January, we will be there towards the end of the regular season or the playoffs for the one in Doral. So how about that? That'll be pretty cool. All right. Big O, yesterday I asked you about your favorite sports movie. Today, my question to you is, what's your favorite sports scene? Wow, sports. My favorite sports scene. Maybe The Natural, when he hits the home run, shatters the lights. And remember, he was injured during that whole thing. That's definitely one of them. Yeah. Although I could go with Tanner telling the Yankees that they can shove the apology where the sun don't shine. And then Lupus saying, yeah, wait till next year. That might be one of my favorite moments. Oh, man. Favorite sports moment movie. I don't know. That Natural might be the perfect one. I think that might be the perfect one. I think that's the one I'll go. Big O Kyle is one of your best guests. Way better. You're brutal, bro. Everybody's different, man. Everybody's different. And all segments are great, and we're gonna have some fun. And listen, the bottom line is, Tremolio, is that we're putting together the kind of sports show locally that you guys can, count on every day and have the best guests on all the time and the best insiders locally. That's what it's all about, man. That's why we got Ira. That's why we got Omar. That's why we got Kyle. That's why we got Manny Navarro. And we're not done yet, man. We're not done yet. And now we've added our pre and post game for the Dolphins. We're only beginning here. We're going to do a lot more. Okay? A lot more. So there you go. Favorite sports movie? Miracle. I have a Ray Finkel jersey. Okay? That's a collectible right there. I will say that. You guys are a trip. Let's see. You know what I was thinking? Just a little bit out of, for us Dolphin fans, we've kind of been through hell, right? And it's been tough. It's been tough sledding for all of us as Dolphins fans over the last 20, 25 years. It's been embarrassing at times, frustrating, all of that. And I was thinking about this yesterday. Can you imagine now? Listen, we have suffered because there's been incompetence. You kind of knew they weren't going to be good. Some of you out there, I get it. You're a blind ass fan, and so all of a sudden now, you think that every year they're going to go to the Super Bowl, right?
Blind ass fan alert! Look out, everyone! We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
So we got the blind ass fans, right? But in my case, I've kind of viewed over the last 20 years, more often than not, I never expected much from most of these teams because it was a bad situation. But can you imagine being a Packers fan? Because a Packers fan has the kind of team that can go deep into the playoffs, possibly the Super Bowl. But it all depends on your quarterback. And they had the golf event the other day. And obviously Rodgers was asked about that, and he kind of put them, like we'll see and all that, and he left that in the dark. And that's kind of where Packers fans have been all offseason. Like, it's frustrating when you know your team's going to be bad, like us Dolphin fans in the past. We've kind of like, okay, well, this isn't going to be much of a season, and you kind of know it. But it's got to suck to know that you can have a really good season if your quarterback reports. If your quarterback doesn't report, you're not even going to make the playoffs. That's got to be frustrating as hell because you got a good team, but you need that quarterback because obviously we all know the quarterback's the guy that, it's the straw that stirs the drink, as they say. Unless you've got one of those generational defenses, the 2016 Broncos, the 03 Bucks, the 01 Ravens, you got one of those, but those generational defenses don't come by very much. You have one of those, okay, you're going to have a great season regardless. If you get the right quarterback that can at least manage, you got a shot at the Super Bowl. But it's got to be frustrating as hell to be a Packers fan and know that you can have a hell of a season because of your quarterback. But if the guy doesn't show up, your season is done. It's over. I mean, what are you going to think? That Jordan Love's going to take you to the promised land? Come on, man. It's not going to happen. But I was watching that situation, and I was thinking about that. I was going, man, it's got to be frustrating to be a Packers fan and have to live through that horror of possibly dealing with the frustration that your incredible quarterback is going to be out. Did you guys see what's going on with Brian Hartline? Huh? It's a pretty amazing story. Brian Hartline is the former Miami Dolphin, wide receiver. I'm pretty sure most of you know Hartline. And good dude overall, went to the Browns after and obviously went to Ohio State. And I don't know if you know this, but did you know that Brian Hartline is the number one recruiter in the country? I did not know that. First of all, I didn't even know he was recruiting for Ohio State. I don't know how many of you know that he's recruiting for his old school. So Hartline apparently continues to do everything right. He got a commitment from one of the top receivers in the country in Kojo Antwi. He landed the crown jewel in the final piece of the 2021 class in JT Tuamolau. Okay. And the first receiver to come off the board for the Buckeyes in 2022 was Caleb Burton. The Texas native was the highest ranked receiver in the 2022 class per 247 Sports grades. Just another player the Buckeyes have plucked from the state of Texas to keep the pipeline alive and well. And certainly the developments and impact of fellow Texan Garrett Wilson has helped the Buckeyes land other players. And then he got his second receiver to commit in the 2022 class in Keon Grays. It was a one-time committed to his home state school, Arizona. However, Coach Hartline had an eye on Grays for some time, and though he was definitely under the radar, the three-star recruit early on, it was the Buckeyes, though, that Hartline made Grays feel how much of a priority he was to Ohio State, and in return, he would get terms of development and beyond if he chose the Buckeyes in the end. So Grays rescinded his pledge to Arizona. After a self-guided tour to Columbus, he committed to Ohio State. He was upgraded to a 4-star since his commitment. Grays is now the 14th best receiver in the class. On the third member, this one's fun because it spurned the teams north, and that's all you could ask for. Illinois product Caleb Brown committed to the Buckeyes just over a month ago and gave Ohio State yet another top player in the position, the 7th best receiver in the class. Brown was at one time thought to be a heavy lean from Michigan, but this recruitment shows how Hartline can even go in and somewhat later than others have and still spurn a rival and land a top player in the nation. I mean, he has become a recruiting stud for Ohio State. I had no idea when I saw that article. And listen, not that I'm rooting for him because Ohio State is not something I root for. You know what I'm saying? I'm a UM guy, and I can't stand Ohio State anyways. They already stole the championship from the Canes because of those stinking referees and all of that. But Ohio State, I had no idea that he was actually working for Ohio State. And I saw, and he's a good dude. I wish nothing but the best for Brian Hartline. Obviously, I don't want him to help Ohio State, and especially if it's going up against the Canes. But I thought that was a really cool story that he has made the transition from player to coach and also recruiting stud. And Brian, from what I remember, had a great personality. He wasn't one of those introverts or anything like that. No, he was an outgoing dude. So it makes a lot of sense that he's the guy that's going into homes and winning parents and siblings over and kids and all that good stuff and scoring big for Ohio State. And not that I want Ohio State to do well, but I gotta give Hartline a little love there. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. All right, don't forget you can reach out to us on the YouTube channel. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. It is the like button. It is so important to hit the like button. Yes, we want you to subscribe also. We want you to share the links to the podcast, share the links to the YouTube page, like the YouTube page, like the podcast. All of these things are incredibly important. Let's see. Flipside Fishing says, glad you're back, Big O. Are you solo again? Well, I've been solo my entire life, pretty much on air. Producer wise, well, right now I'm actually, Bill is doing some work behind the scenes from the house. I got a couple of other people that are also helping me out, on the show. I've got like 3 people that are helping me out a little bit behind the scenes. Now, on air here, yeah, I'm by myself. In studio, I am by myself. I will be joined by somebody, I would imagine, when we do some of the remotes. I know that. We'll definitely have that because I got to have an engineer on the road. I got to have a producer and engineer on the road. That's a must. But yeah, it's allowed me to do kind of some of this stuff on my own right now because let's be honest, we got to build everything up again before we can actually add employees. That is also a thing. That's why it's very important that all of you, support us, whether it's Cash App, whether it's going to visit our sponsors, whether it's subscribing, whether it's liking, all of these little things. It's incredibly important that you do all of this so we can continue to add more elements to the show and have this show build. Remember, I told you, we've been doing 2 hours. Sometimes we go a little over. Today, we've gone a little over 2 hours. Eventually, this will be a 3 to 4 hour show every single day once we add all the elements that I want to add to the show. And we're in the process of that, adding Kyle Krabs, adding Ira Winderman, adding Omar Kelly, adding Manny Navarro, and more to come already that I'm already in the works of all of that. I just haven't finalized certain deals. And by the way, if any of you out there have sponsorships that might be interested in being a part of our show, I would love to talk to you so you can join our show and sponsor it. So if you have a business that you feel kind of fits well with what we do here, please reach out to us. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com is the email. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. And of course, on Twitter, you can DM me there at Big O Show. Would welcome any new sponsors also to help us out there. Mike says Heartline made some magical catches. Heartline's a good dude, man. He's a blue-collar type guy. Airman 241 says, I still have nightmares of the 2003 Fiesta Bowl. I'm with you, man. I am with you all the way. Let's see how well Heartline can recruit from a school like FIU or FAU. It's Ohio State, for Pete's sake. Hey, man, there's been people that can't recruit even to big schools and get it done. All right, so give him some credit when he's getting it done. And if he's flipping somebody from Michigan, Ohio State, that's pretty good. Big O, did you see the video gone viral about the lady in New York trying to lure a dog onto a busy highway simply because it was not on a leash? This world has some effed up people. Really? Seriously? What a bitch. That's disgusting. Listen, man, you abuse kids, women, or dogs, and I have no patience for you. None. I have no tolerance for you. Nothing. Okay? All right? I want your ass beaten. I want your ass in jail. You're going to feel my rage. All right? Because I don't feel like any of us should be abusing kids, women, or animals. That's, to me, is disgusting. So, God, I don't even want to think about that. Oh, I know people at Chico's Bail Bonds. Possible sponsor. We'll let you know. Bring on Chico, baby. What else do we have? Do we have any sympathy for? Don't have any sympathy for Packer fans. They've had 30 years of success. Favre and Rodgers, they're in the penthouse while we're in the outhouse. No, I get you, but it's still frustrating for a fan to know you could have a great season, but it all falls on one player committing to that season. That if that player doesn't commit to that season, it turns everything upside down. That's got to be screwed up, dude. If you're a bad team, you're a bad team, and, nothing's going to change it. But if you're a good team and there's an element that's going to be missing that's going to ruin your entire season, that's got to be frustrating, man. Okay? I mean, that would drive me crazy that I know my Dolphins are headed for a great season, and then all of a sudden the quarterback is pissed off and doesn't want to be a part of it and holds out. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, We've got the team to watch them compete, make a deep run, possibly a Super Bowl, and even a Super Bowl win, and the guy doesn't want to play, our season is ruined. That's got to be frustrating, man. That's got to be frustrating, you know? And it's not the fans' fault. That's why I feel for the fans. You got to understand that part. It's not the fans' fault. Whether they have success or they fail or whatever's happened the last 30 years or whatever, you can't take it out on the fans. It's not their fault. And they only have one, well, they do have 2 in 30 years because it was within 30 years that Reggie White championship with Favre. So they do have 2, whereas Miami has none. I get it. But still, it's got to be brutal, dude, that you have that there and you cannot take advantage of it. That absolutely sucks. Music-wise, today's July 8th. And in 1967, listen to this. The Monkees began a 29-date tour with the Jimi Hendrix Experience opening up. Jimmy was dropped 6 shows in because his act wasn't suitable for the Monkees' teen audience. That is awesome. I saw that story and I laughed my ass off on that. And can you imagine you go see the Monkees and Jimi Hendrix is opening up? I like the Monkees, but damn, after I'm watching Hendrix, what the hell? What can the Monkees do to live up to that? You know what I'm saying? That might have been the other thing that the Monkees might have. Well, I mean, the Monkees have their fans, and they were more kids and younger people in those days. But can you imagine Hendrix opening up for the Monkees? And you probably, back in those days in 67, what are you paying? $2 for that ticket? That is awesome. Big O, I can't even remember Marino holding out. My gut is Aaron Rodgers reports to camp. You know, Devin, I am torn with all of that because it's crazy to think that he wouldn't report to camp. But this is the dude that X'd out his family. So I wouldn't be surprised if he actually does hold out and goes off with his new girlfriend and goes to hang out and doesn't give a crap about the rest. I could see Aaron Rodgers actually telling the Packers to go F themselves because whatever, I don't know what Gruden said to that guy behind the scenes or whatever it is, but I mean, he already said that it has nothing to do with love, that he gets along great with the kid. He says he loves his teammates. He loves the fans. He loves the coaching staff. He says it's the other stuff. And that has to be with Gutekunst. Has to be with the GM. That's got to be the problem. And you're going to give all of that. So if you love the fans, you love your teammates, you love the coaching staff, it's nothing against the kid they drafted last year. You know what, man? At one point or another, you got to compartmentalize this stuff. And you got to say, okay, the GM's an asshole. Well, I'm not going to talk to the GM anymore. I'm not going to deal with the GM anymore. In fact, I'm going to make fun of him constantly, but I'm going to go play for my teammates. I'm going to go play for my offensive line. I'm going to go play for my receivers because Devontae Adams needs me there. I'm going to play for the fans who are incredibly loyal. The Packer fans are great fans, man. They live, eat, and breathe that team. So if you do love your coaching staff and you're not, and it's really not Jordan Love, and you love the fans and you love your teammates, then that's the part I don't get with Aaron Rodgers. Take it out on Gutekunst, bro. Every interview you do, go out of your way to slam the guy. I love my teammates. This was a great game today. Not that we should be playing for that GM. That guy's a clown. But I love this coaching staff, the fans, love it here in Green Bay. I just wish we didn't have this GM. Do it that way. Slam the GM every time you get. But if you really care about everything else, then you've answered your own question. You're getting paid plenty of money. You got a shot to win. Okay, the GM's an asshole. Tell everybody the GM's an asshole. But don't make everybody else suffer. That's the part that's kind of screwed up about this Aaron Rodgers situation. You're making other people suffer. It has nothing to do with the players. It has nothing to do with Jordan Love. It has nothing to do with the coach. It has nothing to do with the fans. Well, then, I mean, come on, man. That's the part that to me is kind of screwed up. And he is twisted enough that if he's going to X out his family, then he definitely won't go back. I mean, it's your family. I get it if you have a problem with a specific individual in your family and you never want to talk to that person again, brother, sister, mother, father, uncle, grandfather, cousin, that's fine. It happens. People have disagreements. Sometimes two people cannot get along, but dude, this guy X'd out his whole family. I've already told you this many times already. I had his brother on a few years back, and his PR people, the one thing they told me was, don't ask him questions about Aaron Rodgers. So he was part of the Bachelor at that time. Bachelorette? Bachelor. I think he was the host. And he was great, by the way. He was personality, everything he was fun. It was actually a good interview. We had a good time in the interview, even without asking about Aaron Rodgers. But that was a requirement that if you were going to have him on, don't ask him about Aaron Rodgers. So this is a guy that has told his family to go F themselves. So he definitely will do that to this team. And again, that's the part, to me, I can't comprehend. I just can't. All right. I got a great story for you. Okay. And this one is one that is funny, twisted, screwed up, kind of like Aaron Rodgers and his family. That's what this one is. So let me ask you something. What are some of the craziest names you've heard that people have named their kids? And actors and actresses have named their kids all kinds of weird names and things like that in the past, right? Well, a New Zealand mother has 3 kids. She named her 3 kids. Are you ready for this? Metallica, Slayer, and Pantera. Yeah, the 3 metal bands, or thrash metal, or speed metal, whatever you want to call them. So apparently she's a big time rocker. And here's a picture of the lady for those of you that are on the tube. So she's got a little bit of an edge to her. Tattoos on her neck and all that good stuff. And yes, if you have tattoos on your neck, you have an edge in my book. Yes. Anyway, so she ends up naming her kids those 3 names: Metallica, Pantera, and Slayer. So for those of you that are on the chat board right now, you're forced to take one of the 3 names: Metallica, Slayer, Pantera. Which one would you be required to be called? What name would you inherit out of those 3? I'm just wondering out of all of that. Look, Metallica clearly is my favorite band out of those 3. I am not much of a Slayer guy. Okay, I do love Pantera. I do enjoy Pantera's music. I've got Pantera's music. Love Metallica. Not so much a Slayer. I've seen Slayer in concert. They are entertaining. I will say that. I know my man NorCal is probably watching. He loves freaking Slayer. Okay. I did see him in concert. They were entertaining, but not a big fan of their music. But if you had to inherit one of those names, which one would you be cool with? Now, it doesn't end there. Okay. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. Where is it here? Because I want to read it exactly for you guys. Here we go. All right, so he divulged that the woman whom he doesn't identify in his article has indeed named her kids as 3 heavy metal bands: Proud to report that the New Zealand mother has named her children Metallica, Pantera, and Slayer, wrote Ferrier. She told me it's not easy raising three of the heaviest bands. The filmmaker, who claims to have seen the birth certificates, admitted that he was initially suspicious, especially after noticing that the kid's name Metallica had a middle name of And Justice for All. That's an album for Metallica. For those of you that don't follow metal, if you're not a Metallica fan, you wouldn't know. Ride the Lightning is my favorite, but And Justice for All is the middle name, and that's the band's fourth album. Can you imagine your name is Metallica and your middle name is And Justice for All? That is awesome. Metallica and Justice for All, Garcia. Metallica and Justice for All, Smith. Ian from Brooklyn says, I want Pantera. Super Boom Check says, middle name, Saint Anger. My last name is Rodriguez, so I'll go with Pantera. Pantera Rodriguez. Doesn't sound bad. Raging Dolphin Maniac says, Pantera actually sounds like a real name. Troy Ortiz says, Black Panther, baby. Mike says, that's awesome. I want another kid so I can name him White Zombie. Tremolio wants to be called Slayer. Super Boom Check says, grandkids will be called Anthrax and Overkill. Nice. Of those three, I'll take the name Pantera. That's what Troy says. A friend of mine named one of his boys. No, he didn't. Shithead, just because he wanted to say it out loud. Hey, shithead, throw out the trash. You're lying. Raging Dolphin Maniac, Moon Unit still takes the cake for me. Moon Unit would be, that'd be kind of twisted. Good afternoon, Big O. Kenneth Cleveland is live from the Boom Boom Room. The lovely ladies, Hallie, Selma, Sophia Page, Charlize, and Beyonce say the Boom Boom Room VIP will sponsor you. That's a good sponsor. That's a very good sponsor. Don't worry, Aaron is reporting he's got a wedding to pay for. Yeah. She's got a little money herself, right? She's an actress. Aaron holding out. That's crazy. Moon Unit is Frank Zappa's kid. Yeah, he and what is it? Dweeble, right? Dweeble, right? Dweeble Zappa is the other one. I mean, yeah, they've got all kinds of weird ass names. What was didn't Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, one of their daughters, don't they have like kind of an odd name also? And I remember there was an actor and an actress that named their kids something also really screwed up. There's been several, I think. Yeah, it is Dweezil. Yeah. He's actually a pretty good guitarist, by the way. Give Dweezil Zappa a little love. He can jam. All right. I was never a big Frank Zappa guy. I never really liked his music, but he is a hell of a musician. That I will say. Remember the song Valley Girl? I remember the movie. What was that? I somehow I remember there was a song with Valley Girls in it, but I don't remember the song itself. I'm going to have to look it up after the show. I guess I'll do that. What else do we have that I wanted to share with you guys here on the program? Did you guys see the Dr. J Magic Jordan, Dr. J Bird Magic card that's going to go for like $500,000? I got to tell you something. When I saw that, I was pissed because I had that card. I don't know if I have it here to show you, but I saw the story and it blew me away that it's going to go for $500,000. And I was like, man, I had that card. It's a card with all three of them next to each other. And it's like if you could cut all three of them out, the little cards, and that thing is going to go for $500,000. That's absolutely nuts. Every time I think about all the money that I've lost in baseball cards, that I had so many great cards, and now I'm watching them go for thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I sit there and I go, damn, I had that card. I put that card in my spokes. I was playing Mighty Wheaty or 52 card pickup or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. We called it in Spanish Mighty Wheaty. I don't know what we call it in English. But it was this card right here. That card. I had that basketball card. That thing's going to go for $500,000. Dr. J, Bird, and Magic. I think I said Jordan. I'm sorry. Dr. J, Magic, and Bird. I had that damn card. How many of you? I bet you somebody else on this chat board is going to say, I had that card too. Guaranteed. It's a really popular card. That's one that I think I saw many times when I was a kid. Okay? Many times. I think I ran into that card. $500,000. Rumor, that's it. Rumor is the daughter of Bruce Willis. Exactly. That's it. Rumor Willis. That's her. And Apple is the kid from Coldplay. That's right. Exactly. The guy from Coldplay was married to the Goop woman, right? What's her name? That woman that sounds very snobbish. That actress, that she's a total snob. I'm telling you. Alexa V, the president, is checking in. Alexa V. Hello. I taught school and once had a kid named Trevor, which was Robert spelled backwards. Oh, okay. All right. And his last name was Roberts. Okay. That's kind of screwed up. Remember the giant Dolphins cards you can get at Burger King? Oh, yeah, definitely. I remember that. Paltrow. That's it. Gwyneth Paltrow. Thank you. Thank you. Tuggy Fresh. That's her. She's such a snob. Oh, God. What's Kanye West's kid's name? It was Nutty too. I think you're right. I think he does have. I think they gave him a screwed up name. Well, North, right? North is her name. Northwest. Right. It's like, really? Do they know that these kids have to grow up? Do they know how brutal kids are? Once you become an adult, okay, once you get to high school, they're not going to make fun of your name anymore. But my man, you are going to have to suffer in elementary for a long time. If you got a funky name in elementary, oh, dude, you're not going to hear the end of it in elementary. It's every day. I think I still have the card in my mom's house in the attic, inside the old shoebox. I still have a rookie Kirby Puckett rookie card. Kirby Puckett's good, but it's not that card. If you have that card, that's going to be worth a lot more than Kirby Puckett's. I had that card, dude. I had that damn card. Noma Gaciapara, named Noma because it's Ramon spelled backwards. Ramon was his dad's name. But like Nomar wasn't, like, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Metallica, that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of screwed up. Pantera, it's, Slayer. Yo, Slayer, come over here. Slayer? Slay? Is that what they're going to call him? Let's see. Look up Gwyneth Paltrow's nude beach photos when she dated Brad Pitt. Where does that come from, Tremolio? Leave it to Tremolio to just come up with stuff that just comes completely out of left field. You know, it's just something you never expected, and Tremolio will drop the bomb on you. He's awesome. He is absolutely awesome. Yeah, you are beautiful, Tremolio. I got to tell you, bro. You are beautiful. Let's see. Get your ass over here, Exodus. You can always change your name when you become an adult, but yeah, it's brutal if you're a kid with an effed up name. Oh yeah, no, yeah, you got to wait till you're 18 to go change your name, but before then, dude, you're going to get killed. That's just the way it is. Rosendo says, "Don't feel too bad, Big O. At least you aren't like the lady who won the lottery ticket but found out that the ticket was inside the washer and dryer." Ugh. God. Yeah, that's Flipside says, "Imagine being named Dick Trickle." Yeah. The race car driver, Dick Trickle. I knew a kid whose parents allowed him and his sister to pick their own names, Starbucks and Electra. It sounds crazy, but it's obvious. It's absolutely true. So Starbuck and Electra. Electra sounds like a stripper. Coming to the stage right now, Electra. Electra, ready to light up the stage. Come on, fellas. Come on out and support Electra. Get those dollar bills out. Yes, sir. String it up on that G-string. Electra. Yes. Electra is definitely a stripper name. Right? She comes out. She's got lights on her breastises. She calls herself Electra. I like that. Yeah. I think that would be pretty accurate when it's all said and done. What else do we have here? Oh, you see the tweet that that Maria Taylor put out? That mess that's going on with ESPN, and they let her she did her show yesterday. What's it called? Rachel did end up doing the jump yesterday. And I watched some of it, and she was like she was ultra friendly and trying to make sure she tells people that this person is her friend and this, that, it was kind of awkward. I got to say, it's kind of awkward. So Maria Taylor, since this mess started, she sent out her first tweet and she put it out at 6:41 last night. She said, "During the dark times, I always remember that I am in this position to open doors and light the path that others walk down. I've taken some punches, but that just means I'm still in the fight. Remember to lift as you climb and always keep rising." Good for her. She's been put in a really difficult position, and most of it had nothing to do with her. She's just trying to manage her career, negotiate her new contract, negotiate the opportunities that's being given to her, and all of a sudden she gets thrown into this, controversy, and it just wasn't her fault. And it's kind of I find it to be absolutely unfair, you know. But it is what it is. It's part of life, right? A lot of things happen in life that are unfair, and you got to find a way to overcome them. That's all I can say. All right, we're going to wrap it up here on the show. We want to thank Michelle Kaufman. We want to thank Kyle Krabs, of course, for joining us. As always, appreciate both of them. We will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Omar Kelly will join us for his weekly segment, and so will Manny Navarro. So we'll talk a little Dolphins and a little Canes with both. We'll get some insight on what's going on with them as we inch closer to the regular season for both teams, and looking forward to the Cane season, and definitely looking forward to the Miami Dolphins season. I don't think that the Cane season is going to be as good because Manny hasn't convinced me yet, unlike, let's say, Brian Flores, who has convinced me, and I think they're headed in the right direction. Canes are still, it's kind of one of those things. Still got to figure it out if they've got the right people in place to turn this whole program around. We thank all of you out there for taking care of us. Ray Grulong, thank you for sending in the Cash App. Appreciate it. And those of you, of course, listening at any time, you can take care of us at Cash App, Cash Big O Show. That's the address, Cash Big O Show. We thank everybody on the YouTube channel. Thank everybody that's podcasting. Whenever you're downloading our show, day, nights, weekends, holidays, middle of the night, whenever you're listening, we love you for it. Please support our sponsors. And thank you for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.